I have with me David Pakman. He is a progressive host and executive producer of the nationally syndicated radio and TV program, The David Pakman Show. And I wanted to talk to David Pakman. He is a beta male. David Pakman. He is a beta male. The beta male. David Pakman. He is a beta male. David Pakman. He is a beta male. The beta male.
Can you remind the audience, when you talk about being a beta male and being an alpha male, what are we talking about here?
There are males, most men today.
Yeah.
Male, they think and act like a woman. They're emotional. They are mentally off. They have no logic. And that's a beta male. They go along with homosexuality.
Hold on, whoa, Jesse, we got it. That's a lot.
LGBTQ.
That's a lot.
They
Hold on.
agree with everything that's wrong. Abortion, they think and act just like a woman. A beta male does. But a non-beta male doesn't, because he's a logical thinker. And they're controlled by the darkness of David Pakman. He is a beta male. David Pakman. He is a beta male. The beta male. David Pakman. He is a beta male. David Pakman. He is a beta male. The beta male. David Pakman. He is a beta male. David Pakman. He is a beta male. The beta male. David Pakman. He is a beta male. David Pakman. He is a beta male. The beta male. David, you're not here to communicate. I really appreciate you coming on. I'm going to let you go. It's a waste of time to talk to you. We're not communicating. You're acting like an idiot.
Because you're asking bizarre questions.
You're
and not
acting
answering
like an
any of them.
idiot, and you're wasting my time. I appreciate you coming. All right, thank you for coming.
So you know
Goodbye.
that.
Goodbye. Let him go. That's a progressive vote. All men who are progressive, or males who are progressive, are weak people. They are weak people, and why have you?
Today, I'm pleased to make a truly historic announcement in our battle against the China virus that will save countless.
All right, okay, no time for more of that stuff. Wow, a very, very special day and a very, very special introduction. That's hot off the presses thanks to producer Pat, who put that together. And basically my instructions were put together the most cringeworthy compilation you possibly can to then play before the stream with some of these great songs from Joseph Woodward, of course, Plasma, the song of the summer, as well as David Pakman is a beta male. We also have other songs which we may have later. We actually also have a music video which was sent to me, which maybe we will look at later. It'll depend on sort of how the evening goes. We do have about a half hour until the start of the second and final debate between who is debating tonight. I guess it's Trump and Biden. And Donald Trump, about an hour and a half ago, trotting out a very important guest at the Nashville, Tennessee location for the debate. And it was some guy with some claims about Biden. I mean, it's just a complete non-starter. Remember, the guy who brought us the Hunter Biden story ended up with his hand in his pants in front of 6 cameras as Borat ran in. So I don't know that that's necessarily the guy that we want to be listening to about what's going on with our politics. Okay, I don't even know where to start today. I hope people have voted. If you follow me on Instagram, which you should, you would already know that I very, very strongly voted over the weekend. Here is me inserting my ballot into an official City of Boston Dropbox and then walking off screen. And I actually forgot to track my ballot, but I will track it soon and see if it's been delivered. I hope all of you voted as well. And then just as an example of some of the other hijinks that sometimes happens on my Instagram, here is a little bit of a voicemail that I received the other day, just to give you a sense of what I get.
Little Argentine Israeli troll. Hey, and why aren't you wearing a mask? You do this live stream, all your shows. I never see you you wear a fucking mask when you're doing your live streams, you know.
Yeah.
So why are you wearing goggles? Why
Right.
don't you have headphones?
I should wear a mask and goggles just sitting in the studio by myself. That seemed just to be extra safe.
On and a necklace. Wait, all that money you make, you don't have no gold necklace. How come you don't have a gold tooth like fucking Flavor Flav? You know, you're a hypocrite. If you can complain about people taking their masks off.
No hypocrisy here. I don't think that people broadcasting in studios by themselves should wear masks. So certainly don't misunderstand. Absolutely no hypocrisy whatsoever. But anyway, each day we get about 100 voicemails, and sometimes they're as crazy as that. So we will keep an eye on that as we await the start of what is going to be. It's both the second but also the final debate, because Donald Trump refused to do the second debate remote despite having coronavirus, and then things just got, completely and totally crazy. I see a lot of people apparently noticing that something crazy happened on our YouTube channel today. Yeah, I was just looking. Somehow we already have 2,000 new subscribers today on the YouTube channel, and it's the best day we've ever had on YouTube from the standpoint of views, and we've only just started the stream. So we are apparently setting a new high bar today as far as YouTube is concerned, and that's very, very exciting. Let me do where to even start. Hold on, what did I have? So Pete Buttigieg, many of you remember him from such episodes as the Democratic primary and mayor of South Bend, Indiana. He has been just dropping bombs on Fox News, and they continue giving him these BS questions, and he just dismantles them. This was earlier today. Take a look at this.
It's not even clear what he's claiming adds up to. They're just kind of saying, "Oh, there are questions," which
Joe
is what
Biden
they love to do.
was
If you want to ask
discussing all of his
questions,
business deals.
let's ask. If they want to make this about the business deals of a government official, let's talk about the president of the United States having a secret Chinese bank account. That's not like, something somebody said that used to work with somebody related to the president in an email. That's a matter of documented fact. And they won't even tell us what bank it's with. Does that bother Americans? I'm pretty sure it bothers Americans a lot more than what they're trying to whip up for the last 12 days of this election season.
And every time he does this, the Fox News hosts don't know what on earth to do. Let me see if I can find the Pete Buttigieg prostitute clip. And it's not like the Rudy Giuliani stuff. This is something else. This is a real. Let me see if I can just find it here. Buttigieg. Hold on a second. Was it, I guess it's with Steve Ducey, maybe? No, actually it was actually with Martha McCallum. Let me see if I can find this. Oh yeah, here it is.
Insight into what she might say to justify why she was for Medicare for all then and is not for it now, for example.
Well, there's a classic parlor game of trying to find a little bit of daylight between running mates. And if people want to play that game, we could look into why an evangelical Christian like Mike Pence wants to be on a ticket with the president caught with a porn star, or how he feels about the immigration policy that he called unconstitutional before he decided to team up with Donald Trump. If folks want to play that game, we could do it all night. But I think what most Americans want to hear about is, are our families going to be better protected than they have been by this president who's failed to secure America in the face of one of the most dangerous things ever to happen to our country?
Will the question be...
Yeah, they had to move on from that one. Not going particularly well there, as you could imagine. So anyway, Pete's doing really well. It doesn't mean that my favorite candidate is Pete or anything like that. It's just he's been doing really well at just dropping the hammer on Fox News very, very regularly. Okay, let me see what else I have here. A Trump supporter has been arrested for requesting an absentee ballot for their dead mother. So as usual, it's Daniel Marins. I know Daniel. That's interesting. He's a good guy. It's as usual, Republicans say in-person voter fraud. It's rampant. It's Republicans arrested for voter fraud trying to test the system. Turns out the system works okay. And then now Trump supporter arrested for requesting an absentee ballot for their dead mother. We had a QAnon Trumpist arrested last week because he happened to be a postal carrier and had like 8 bags of mail sitting on the curb ready to be disposed of when the trash truck came by. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And then I don't know if you heard, this is just like an insult to injury thing. Trump's Twitter was accessed last week by a security expert. What's really funny about security expert is he just guessed the password MAGA 2020 ! So it's like, I don't deny that he was an expert, but at the same time, does that require that much expertise to try the password MAGA 2020 ! And it happens to be Donald Trump. Did that not actually happen? Are people saying that didn't happen? Was this misreported? I haven't seen any update. I believe that that's a real story. Yeah, updated with Twitter comment and corrected the name of the publication which first published the news. Trump says nobody got hacked, but forgot his hotel chain was hacked twice. My God. Okay, so anyway, those are a couple stories that have cropped up lately. If you're interested, I will be live tweeting during the debate, and you will actually see me compose my tweets, and you can follow those there if you would like. I'm D. Pacman on Twitter. Donald Trump, by the way, earlier today releasing his 60 Minutes interview, an unusual move to release the 60 Minutes interview before 60 Minutes. For me, this was the most memorable moment. And as many of you know, I have a similar type of glass, and I will often drink the exact same way. So anyway, that was a moment earlier. And then, I mean, I guess just to be thorough, I should show you. This was Rudy Giuliani in the forthcoming Borat sequel, which goes live. I actually am wondering if Amazon Prime Video will crash when this goes live. They said tomorrow. I don't know if that means midnight tonight it goes live, or at some point tomorrow morning. I don't know, but I am certainly going to be watching that. So a lot going on, my friends. Really, a lot of different things going on. Okay. Let me just start. I'm already falling behind on a lot of different things. So let's just do a couple different. Let's see what's coming in from super chats. I'm just going to scroll through some of these super chats. Chakaseki, who we learned yesterday is actually a physician. Chakaseki is a radiologist. Says, how severe will the orange jackass O'Lantern's implosion be during Mute-pocalypse tonight? Will he leave behind a mango singularity? I think so. I think that absolutely will happen. Joseph Dinsy's asking about AOC offering to speak and then backing down for an event honoring Yitzhak Rabin. I didn't hear about that. I wouldn't be able to comment. Darwin asks, are the mask-wearing supporters in the background of Trump rallies paid actors? I can't rationalize a person who would support Trump, but also wear a mask at an event, no matter how hard I try. I think they're told you have to wear a mask if you want to be up on stage. I think that's the deal. Lauren says, I view donating to a congressperson outside my district as equivalent to foreign interference by, say, Turkey. I oppose both. Do you agree? No, I mean, listen, if you don't have to, live in the district you represent, I don't think you should have to live in the district in order to donate to that candidate. So I don't agree, Lawrence, with total peace and love. Milo says, make sure to vote for Joseph Kenneth Destiny Biden Jr. II on November 3rd. Yeah, if you're just joining us, I did vote on Saturday. Here is video of me voting. I would love to hear from you. Could be via super chat or YouTube or Twitch sub message or however, really. Did you vote already? Reportedly, over 40 million people have already voted. We're only expecting 125 to 130 million people total to vote. And 45 have already voted, if you can imagine that. That's insane. But of course, it's not a normal year. It's because so many people are being encouraged to vote early because of the pandemic. Okay, so that's that. Let me know how you are doing as far as voting is concerned. Zach says, David, vaccine news is very promising. Wide rollout beginning of next year, hopefully under a new president. Let's hope so. Brooks says, thanks for the streams. You're awesome. You've said Trump's claims that Biden will raise taxes 4 times is mathematically impossible. Can you explain? Yeah. So like, for example, if the top tax bracket is 35%, Times 4, that's 140%. How can you have a 140% tax bracket? Just doesn't make any sense. It's impossible. For every dollar you make, you owe $1.40. That's ridiculous. Luke says, dropping a super chat and bouncing, prefer to watch debates without commentary, but keep up the great work. Thank you. Richard Hutchings says, are you co-hosting this video with Borat or his daughter? Yes. Yes. Emmanuel Kant says, so ironic how Rudy Giuliani was on Crowder's show the other day making fun of Joe's son for using drugs. Peak cringe. Yeah, it's horrible. Sonder says, go vote, you Americans. Angel says, I found your channel just after COVID hit the U.S., and I want to thank you for really educating me on politics and the progressive movement. Excellent. Excellent. What would it take for Trump to rage quit mid-debate? I don't know. I don't know about you guys, but I think that Trump is going to try to interrupt Biden, even despite the muted microphone. And I don't know what the reaction is going to be from the crowd or from just voters. But whoa, something is happening here. But I do think Trump is not going to be able to resist. I really don't, particularly after Barack Obama brutally destroyed him yesterday. I think that Trump is not going to be able to take it. OK, I do want to thank some people who have signed up on my website. I'm going to try not to fall behind. We have a very modest goal of 25 new members, as you can see right above my head. We had 380 during the first debate. The goal today is only 25. Mark Anthony Gibbons is new member number 1. Daniel Rhodes is new member number 2. Also want to say thanks to Steve Semino, who is number 3 today. Jen Osman is new member number 4. Monica Thoreau is new member number 5. Spencer Hadfield is number 6. Grace Lord is number 7. And Daniel Blanqui is new member number 8. I appreciate that. And yeah, all the info about that is on my website. Info is right up there at joinpacman.com. Other super chats that continue to come in. Actually, no, I don't want to ignore our beautiful Twitch viewers. So let me see what people are saying there. Dire Dragon has subscribed and says, keep up the great work, David. Astro Dastro subscribes and says, bonsoir, mes amis. Good evening, my friends. Uji Lost has subscribed. Amber Gifford, Schmevel, Left Social, Snuggles, Castraticron, Mike Anobi. Oh my God, I'm having a lot of trouble pronouncing a lot of these today, but we'll do the, I'll do the best I can. Other super chats. Waller is me says, news blooper. They called her Amy Boney Carrot. Made me smile for a bit. That can't be true. Amy Boney Carrot. Did that really happen? That sounds hilarious. Carmen Edwards says, I hope not to see a rendition of Two Barking Dogs. Thanks for your interpretation. My pleasure. Johnny says, if it wasn't for your debate live stream, I'd skip the whole thing for the newest episode of Drag Race Holland. That's not a show I've seen. Chakaseki is demanding shout-outs for Bokes, Spencer, Peter, and Enrique from Tufts. They are the original dream team. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Let's see. What other questions are there? Connor says, David, I'm on a plane from Boston for the first time trying to stream this on board. Visiting my sister during her first semester at Harvard to help fight homesickness. What's the go-to Michael's Deli order for my dad and I? Oh, yeah, listen. I would, if you go to Michael's Deli, my go-to is just pastrami on pumpernickel with mustard. Call me old-fashioned, but I go with the pumpernickel bread rather than the rye. A lot of people prefer the rye, but go with the pastrami. Could also do corned beef. And if you really want to get crazy, throw some pickles on there. And if you do go to Michael's Deli, always tell Steve that the David Pakman Show sent you. I get nothing for it. But it's funny when I go in and he says, 2 more people came in. Yeah, okay. I guess that's it on that. Oliver says, David, I hope Biden is feeling as verbose as I am tonight. And can someone please deepfake David into a Borat gif? We could use a laugh. That is a great request. Deepfake me into a Borat gif. I think that would be great. By the way, I want to debut something for you guys. Our friend and composer Joseph Woodward, as you may recall, put together this song recently. Oh, hold on a second here. This song.
I have with me David Pakman. He is a progressive host and executive producer.
Okay, anyway, so the point is, then after that, we actually... I apologize. That was crazy. What I was saying was our friend Kyle Hopper. Oh, hold on. Did we just get raided? I want to make sure I'm aware of that. I'm not seeing the raid. Did we get raided? I didn't see it. Okay. Our friend Kyle Hopper put together a music video with the clips from that song. Okay, so take a look at this. This was the awkward moment before my interview with Jesse Lee Peterson started, and it's just, this is beautifully, beautifully done. Here we go. Oh, there's the raid from Levy Rosman. Love it. Welcome, guys. We've got a big night ahead of us. New music video. Very, very hot track.
I have with me David Pakman. He is a progressive host and executive producer of the nationally syndicated radio and TV program, The David Pakman Show.
This is really well done.
And I wanted to talk to David Pakman. He is a beta male. David Pakman. He is a beta male. The beta male. David Pakman. He is a beta male. David Pakman. He is a beta male. The beta male.
Can you remind the audience, when you talk about being a beta male and being an alpha male, what are we talking about here?
There are males, most men today.
Yeah.
Male. They think and act like a woman. They're emotional. They are mentally off. They have no logic. And that's a beta male. They go along with homosexuality.
Whoa, Jesse, we got it. That's a lot.
LGBTQ.
That's a lot.
They agree with everything that's wrong. Abortion, they think and act just like a woman. A beta male does. But a non-beta male doesn't, because he's a logical thinking. And they're controlled by the darkness of David Pakman.
Right, deep fake.
He is a beta male. David Pakman. He is a beta male.
Okay, actually, I'm going to stop it because we may be getting into some like DMCA stuff. I don't exactly know what's going on with some of these platforms we're on. But in any case, very, very hot new track, and the music video just as hot, and people are going completely crazy. Okay, we are standing by just 14 minutes from the start of the second and final presidential debate between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. And it is going to be absolutely wild. We are taking memberships right now, including Brandon Sharp, who's new member number 9, David McGinnis, who's new member number 10, Crystal Smiley is number 11, Michael Bland is number 12, Kyle Montgomery is 13, and Franziska Danteva is new member number 14 right now on my website. We will, I might as well, we're going for 100 today, and the phone lines will open via Discord, potentially after the debate. DavidPakman.com/Discord is the new David Pakman Show official Discord. I invite you to join it if you would like. If indeed we do take phone calls after the debate, it will be happening via Discord. So just letting you know about that, just so everybody knows the plan. Okay, a couple of other messages coming in through Twitch. Emerald Ideas says, thanks for keeping people informed. I appreciate that. We got the very strong raid from Levy Gotham Chess Rosman, and I hope you all will stick around. Decadentista says, best wishes from Germany, from a German in LA voting for Biden. And Individualism Killed the Cat says, let's do this with a Twitch Prime sub. So people very, very excited and wow. I can tell people are wound up because this is a big night. This is a very, very big night. Okay, other super chats here. Philip liked the intro video. I did see the picture, Josh, of Mitch McConnell's hand. I don't know what that is. It seems like some kind of bruising, maybe from an IV. His hands were black. It was very odd, but it seems like a health issue. Clearly. I don't know what else to say. Do I agree with Bernie Sanders when he says Biden would be the most progressive president since FDR? Yeah, I've been saying that since before Bernie's been saying it. Bernie got that from me. Just kidding. But I have been saying that for months. Delilah Rose says Biden 2020, Biden 2020. Daniel says, are there new informations about the Hunter Biden? Is it disproven? They now say Hunter's business partner said it's legit. Greetings from South Korea. If anything broke in the last hour, I haven't seen it. But I will look into that. By the way, if anybody's having a problem with the stream, I believe there was a hiccup. Just refresh. Well, I guess if the stream's frozen, you wouldn't hear me saying refresh. But tell people in chat just to refresh if that's the case. I think that'll be fine. Fred Trump says, think the new developments with Hunter Biden's business partner will have an impact. P.S. I hate my son. Again, I'm not exactly sure yet. I'm not exactly sure. Tim says, I voted today. Could y'all up the clip quality on the videos? Yeah, we're working on that. Super Oprah says, hi from Canada. My son and I love your channel. We watch you every day. Thanks for your great insight. Can't stop laughing at Rudy's rowdy rooster. Yeah. Herman Cain's debate still active. Eritro, something about Major League Soccer. Don't know anything about that. Mike says, do I ever think that poor and toxic mental health plays a large part in how and why right-wing sycophants can still back Trump? I do think so, yeah. Thoughts on Warren and Mayor Pete in the cabinet? I think both would be interesting. I'm less clear on what Mayor Pete's role would be. I could see Elizabeth Warren as Secretary of Education. I could see her as a Treasury Secretary. There's really a lot of roles that seem natural for Elizabeth Warren. You could find something for Pete, although it's less obvious to me what it would be. HUD, some people are saying. Yeah, I'm not sure. Alec Vanderpool says, as a Dutch American, I'm itching to get back to the Netherlands to visit friends and family. What are your top 3 countries to visit once it's safe? Honestly, so I was scheduled to go to a number of different places, including Japan this year. Or was it last year? No, this year. Yeah, this year is the pandemic. And honestly, right now, after the pandemic, I'm looking to go back to places I've been, which I just already know and like, and it's just easy and just to kind of go back somewhere I know I will like. So I'm looking at a trip that will include potentially going back to Paris, would like to get back to Israel soon. And yeah, there's a lot of places, a lot of places on my list. Let's see here. Super chats are just flying in. I'm going to get away from super chats just for a moment. A few things just to let everybody know kind of the plan for tonight. The debate's scheduled for 90 minutes starting 8 minutes from now. My thought is after the debate, maybe if we get to this subscriber and patron goal, I'll open up phone lines. And if that happens, it's going to be via the Discord, which is davidpakman.com/Discord, DISCORD. And the audio quality is beautiful. Now, I already see people in the Discord in the audio lobby. You're going to be waiting for hours minimum because we're not going to calls at least until the end of the debate. But if you want to hang out in the audio lobby the entire time, I won't stop you, but just sort of as a heads up. In terms of, I will be live tweeting. You can follow that, on Twitter at Whoa, Rudy with his hand in his pants out of nowhere. Sorry about that, guys. Let me close that out. That's for later. I'm D Pacman on Twitter. I'll be composing my tweets in front of you guys, so there will be full disclosure. And by the way, I don't know how many of you saw the 60 Minutes interview, but really, really interesting ways of drinking water by Donald Trump. But yeah, so that will be going on. And then I actually am leaning towards carrying the PBS stream. I actually heard that C-SPAN may not be the safest stream, although typically it is. But we'll monitor that as we can, and hopefully we won't experience any kind of shutdown whatsoever. Okay. Let me just scroll up a little. I'm going to try to get to a lot of super chats today, but they're coming in so fast and furious that it is going to be tough to get all of them, but I'm going to do the best I can. Andrew's watching from Ireland says, should be a fascinating night. Will Trump dive across the stage to whine into Biden's mic? That I don't know, but I expect a lot of whining, a lot of whining from Donald Trump tonight. John wants to know if Beta Pacman will start an OnlyFans account. No, I have a Cameo. I am not on OnlyFans. If there is any account on OnlyFans claiming to be me, it is not really me. All right, so please don't fall for it. And certainly don't send anybody money on OnlyFans thinking that it's me. Let's see what else we have. Beth says, what makes you the most nervous about Biden tonight? Just that he could get thrown off by Trump's belligerence again. I mean, it clearly was throwing him off to some degree last debate. And also, you know, whether the moderator can or can't control the debate is always a question mark in any debate, What else do we have? Vida sin risas es comiendo unas empanadas. Listo para el desastre. Yeah. Eating some empanadas, ready for the disaster, shouting and lies from the idiot. These 4 years have felt like a decade. Keep up the good work. Always watch your videos. Chris is asking if this is an Among Us stream. You know, I still have no idea what Among Us really is. I still don't know. Like, I know it's a game and I've seen a screenshot of it. I have no idea. Is that crazy or what? Those of us who watch on Twitch on data can't because the stream quality setting can't be lowered. Yeah, I can't control that. People often attack me for having just one or limited stream qualities. Is this Melania? On Twitch, I can't control it. I'm only an affiliate, not a partner. So let's see. We've got Tiffany Trump here. I think that was Eric. Here is Melania wearing a mask. Remember that the Trump family removed their masks during the first debate. The debate organizers from the Commission on Presidential Debates said that they would be asked to leave if they remove their masks again. So we will see if that happens. And presumably, unless I missed it, we are waiting for Dr. Jill Biden as well. Listen, I think this is as good a time maybe as ever just to mention, I would really love it. It would mean a lot to me if you supported this stream and all of our other work by grabbing a membership on my website, joinpacman.com. As you can see, we've got about close to 37,000 people watching right now across our different platforms. Our goal is only 100 website members. We had about 380 during the first debate. I would love it if you signed up. And as I've mentioned, I am committing to opening the phone lines if we do get to that number 100. It's really cheap, really, really cheap. And if you use the coupon code 2020 now, which is above my head in blue text, you save 66%. So we're not talking about a lot of money. The memberships allow us to sort of build revenue we can count on. You know, YouTube revenue is very irregular. Twitch revenue is very irregular. When you sign up on our website, you're sort of going directly to the source, cutting out the middleman. And I would love it if you did that. A couple people who just signed up, I will thank, and I will try to thank everybody. Mandy Rivers is new member number 15. Mark Blunt is number 16. Marcia Shamness is number 17. Kyle Riquelme is number 18. Judson Salomon is number 19. Stephanie Rodriguez is number 20. Very much appreciate it, and I'll keep throwing in as many thank yous as I can. The website should not crash. No, the website should. We have had issues where a lot of people try to get a membership and the website has crashed, but we've quadrupled the resources on the website, and we should not have any kind of problem with that whatsoever. All right, we are down to the last 6.5 minutes. This is moderator Kristen Welker here. Let's listen to see if she's addressing the crowd out loud.
I'm thankful that you are feeling better. I want to welcome the Biden family, Dr. Jill Biden. Thank you all for being here tonight. We are so excited. We're looking forward to a really robust discussion. And the only thing I would reiterate are the CPD guidelines that when the candidates are talking, please hold any applause or any other reactions, except, of course, when they walk out. Make sure you cheer and loud and applause so that everyone can hear you.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me. This is really the honor of a lifetime. I am going to sit down and just get organized and get settled, and the show will start very soon. Thank you for being here.
All right. So what is effectively the standard admonishment from debate moderators to the crowd to keep it down, essentially. Keep it down to the extent that they are able. And we will see if even Donald Trump can keep it down when it is Joe Biden's turn to speak. Let's see here. Crazy Cat Lady says, David, love your show. Did you pay more in taxes last year than Trump did? Oh, my God. You should see what I paid in taxes. You should see what I paid in taxes. Illegal in some states. Solange Gregory says, David, I need to call in and speak to you about Miami cops. The whole face mask thing is nothing. They are a gang. They aren't cops. Okay, I don't know about that, but I'm always interested in hearing from viewers, as always. Bring Me a Pillow has grabbed a Twitch Prime sub. Master Chess Dojo has subscribed and says, thank you, David. People on Twitch very, very excited. As I mentioned earlier, we are making Twitch a very strong part of our 2021 plan. We've already started sort of brainstorming some of our 2021 ideas, and Twitch is going to be a big part of that. Also, a few things pending on Twitch. I am organizing a chess tournament on chess.com for after the election. Regardless of the results, I think we will all need a little something not politics related, and I will be co-hosting that with Levi Rosman, the international chess master. GM Benjamin Feingold may be playing in that tournament, who will also be giving me a lesson soon. So we've got a lot of cool and different things going on. And of course, to keep up with any of it, it costs nothing. Just follow me if you're watching on Twitch, or hit the subscribe button if you are watching on YouTube. This stuff is free. Last debate, the YouTube viewers broke the subscribe button. I know it's like, how could that happen, right? So many people subscribed to our YouTube channel last debate that YouTube triggered a spam defense mechanism where it took them a week to verify, like, this is more subscribers in a short period of time than anybody normally gets. We need to verify that some kind of bots aren't being used, which I know there were very ugly allegations about at one point from Sam Cedar. But you broke the subscribe button during the first debate, which is absolutely insane. So anyway, long story short, make sure to follow, like, and subscribe, regardless of where it is that you are watching. A lot of people asking about various drinking games. Kevin saying, do we drink every time he says radical left or something like that? You know, the safest drinking game is to drink whenever Trump tells the truth. You'll remain stone cold sober for the entire debate. In Your Groove asking via Twitch Prime, will you stream election night? Yes. That may be the last big stream of the show, as many people are emailing me. The show is circling the drain. That's a frequent refrain from many of the Hatriots. And I guess if that's the case, election night may be the absolutely last stream I ever do. That would be very, very sad, wouldn't it? Karen has her seatbelt on and a bowl of popcorn handy because we are in for a wild ride. I'll make sure we've got audio here. Actually, let's see. We've got, okay, yeah.
Tonight's moderator is Kristen Welker of NBC News. To her in a moment, but joining me tonight.
Okay, so we'll stay over here, I guess, for the time being. We don't want to miss it. Fred says the show will start soon. What an appropriate choice of words by the moderator. Denver says I could not handle the psychic trauma of these debates without you, David, and that is not even a joke. Thank you. Democratic Brotherhood says, David, your channel inspired me to choose to pursue a degree in international politics and criminology. I'm in my second year, hope to do what you do. Beautiful. Love it. Love it. Very much appreciate that. Thanks to Zach Prakowski for the 5 gifted subs over on Twitch. And we are just moments from the start of this second and final debate. A couple other thank yous to get in. Karen Wilkie Jadoin is new member number 21 today. Sean McDonald is new member number 22 at joinpacman.com. Let's keep it going, my friends. The phone lines will open at 100. Medea Beasley, new member number 23. And it seems as though Kristen Welker is very close to ready to start this evening's event. Do I think we'll get an appearance from the most popular fly in the country? I actually think we will see a locust today, and it will be a very, very bad omen. It will be in Trump's water. That's going to be scary, scary stuff. Ryan says, just joined David, love the show. Ken says, the Borat movie is up early on Prime. Okay, well, listen, don't leave. Please don't leave to watch the Borat movie. This is live. The Borat movie is not live. I will have to check it out a little bit later today. And I think it's going to be very, very interesting. What else do we have? A lot of Spanish messages here. Siba Piaz says, saludos
Good
de
evening
Uruguay.
from Belmont University in Nashville, Tennessee.
All right, let's switch over now to PBS.
Paul has promised to remain silent. No cheers, boos, or other interruptions.
Here we go.
Except right now, as we welcome to the stage former Vice President Joe Biden and President Donald J. Trump.
Let's see if there's any greeting between the two candidates. Trump going very, very hard against Biden recently. They're not showing it for whatever reason. Let's see here. No acknowledgement thus far. Interesting. A little bit of something
there. I do
there.
want to say a very good evening to both of you. This debate will cover 6 major topics. At the beginning of each section, each candidate will have 2 minutes uninterrupted to answer my first question. The debate commission will then turn on their microphone only when it is their turn to answer.
Right.
And the commission will turn it off exactly when the 2 minutes have expired. After that, both microphones will remain on. But on behalf of the voters, I'm going to ask you to please speak one at a time. The goal is for you to hear each other and for the American people to hear
not Trump's
every
goal.
word of what you both have to say. And so with that, if you're ready, let's start. And we will begin with the fight against the coronavirus. President Trump, the first question is for you. The country is heading into a dangerous new phase. More than 40,000 Americans are in the hospital tonight with COVID, including record numbers here in Tennessee. And since the two of you last shared a stage, 16,000 Americans have died from COVID. So please be specific. How would you lead the country during this next stage of the coronavirus crisis? 2 minutes, uninterrupted.
So, as you know, 2.2 million people modeled out were expected to die. We closed up the greatest economy in the world in order to fight this horrible disease that came from China. It's a worldwide pandemic. It's all over the world. You see the spikes in Europe and many other places right now. If you notice, the mortality rate is down.
Trump
85%.
almost brown tonight rather than orange while not answering.
The rate is way down and much lower than almost any other country. And we're fighting it, and we're fighting it hard. There is a spike. There was a spike in Florida, and it's now gone. There was a very big spike in Texas. It's now gone. There was a very big spike in Arizona. It's now gone. And there are some spikes and surges in other places. They will soon be gone. We have a vaccine that's coming. It's ready. It's going to be announced within weeks, and it's going to be delivered. We have Operation Warp Speed, which is the military is going to distribute the vaccine. I can tell you from personal experience that I was in the hospital. I had it. And I got better, and I will tell you that I had something that they gave me, a therapeutic, I guess they would call it. Some people could say it was a cure.
It wasn't.
But I was in for a short period of time, and I got better very fast, or I wouldn't be here tonight.
So what would he do?
They say I'm immune. Whether it's 4 months or a lifetime, nobody's been able to say that, but I'm immune. More and more people are getting better.
So you would do what?
A problem that's a worldwide problem. This is a worldwide problem. But I've been congratulated by the heads of many countries on what we've been able to do. If you take a look at what we've done in terms of goggles and masks and gowns and everything else, and in particular ventilators, we're now making ventilators all over the world, thousands and thousands a month, distributing them all over the world. It will go away, and as I say, we're rounding the turn, we're rounding the corner. It's going away.
Okay, former Vice President Biden, to you, how would you lead the country out of this crisis? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
220,000 Americans dead. If you hear nothing else I say tonight, hear this. Anyone who's responsible for not taking control, in fact, not saying I take no responsibility initially, Anyone who's responsible for that many deaths should not remain as President of the United States of America. We're in a situation where there are 1,000 deaths a day now, 1,000 deaths a day. And there are over 70,000 new cases per day. Compared to what's going on in Europe, as the New England Medical Journal said, they're starting from a very low rate. We're starting from a very high rate. The expectation is we'll have another 200,000 Americans dead between now and the end of the year. If we just wore these masks, the president's own advisors have told him, we could save 100,000 lives. And we're in a circumstance where the president thus far and still has no plan, no comprehensive plan. What I would do is make sure we have everyone encouraged to wear a mask all the time. I would make sure we move in the direction of rapid testing, investing in rapid testing. I would make sure that we set up national standards as to how to open up schools and open up businesses so they can be safe and give them the wherewithal, the financial resources to be able to do that. We're in a situation now where the New England Medical Journal, one of the most serious journals in the whole world, said for the first time ever that the way this president has responded to this crisis has been absolutely tragic. And so, folks, I will take
Trump
care
nice
of this.
and quiet.
I will end this. I will make sure we have a plan.
President Trump, I'd like to follow up with you in your comments. You talked about taking a therapeutic. I assume you're referencing Regeneron. You also said a vaccine will be coming within weeks.
Yes.
Is that a guarantee?
No, it's not a guarantee, but it will be by the end of the year. But
well,
I think
he's been saying it for months, so of course it's not a guarantee.
I think within a matter of weeks, and it will be distributed very quickly.
Can you tell us which companies?
Johnson & Johnson is doing very well. Moderna is doing very well. Pfizer is doing very well. And we have numerous others. Then we also have others that we're working on very closely with other countries, in particular Europe.
Let me follow up with you, and because this is new information, you have said a vaccine is coming soon, within weeks now. Your own officials say it could take well into 2021 at the earliest for enough Americans to get vaccinated. And even then, they say the country will be wearing masks and distancing into 2022. Is your timeline realistic?
No, I think my timeline is going to be more accurate. I don't know that they're counting on the military the way I do, but we have our generals lined up, one in particular, that's the head of logistics.
One general is lined up.
Very easy distribution for him. He's ready to go as soon as we have the vaccine, and we expect to have 100 million vials. As soon as we have the vaccine, he's ready to go.
Vice President Biden, your reaction, and just 40% of Americans say they would definitely agree to take a coronavirus vaccine if it was approved by the government. What steps would you take to give Americans confidence in a vaccine if it were approved?
Make sure it's totally transparent. Have the scientists of the world see it, know it, look at it, go through all the processes. And by the way, this is the same fellow who told you this is going to end by Easter last time. This is the same fellow who told you that, don't worry, we're going to end this by the summer. We're about to go into a dark winter, and he has no clear plan, and there's no prospect that there's going to be a vaccine available for the majority of the American people before the middle of next year.
President Trump, your reaction, he says you have no plan.
I don't think we're going to have a dark winter at all. We're opening up our country.
1,000 people died today.
Studied and understand the disease, which we didn't at the beginning. When I closed and banned China from coming in heavily infected, and then ultimately Europe, but China was in January. Months later, he was saying I was xenophobic. I did it too soon. Now he's saying, oh, I should have, moved quicker. But he didn't move quicker. He was months behind me.
He's not president.
Many months behind me. And frankly, he ran the H1N1 swine flu, and it was a total disaster, far less lethal.
67% approval on swine flu.
Had that had this kind of numbers, 700,000 people would be dead right now. But it was a far less lethal
If the death
disease.
rate of a different virus a long time ago were different.
Who ran that for him, who, as you know, was his chief of staff, said it was catastrophic. It was horrible. We didn't know what we were doing. Now he comes up and he tells us how to do this. Also, everything that he said about the way every single move that he said we should make, that's what we've done. We've done all of it. But he was way behind us.
Vice President Biden, your response.
Our response is he is xenophobic, but not because he shut down access from China.
Beautiful.
Late after 40 countries had already done that. In addition to that, what he did, he made sure in China, trying to get to Wuhan to determine what exactly the source was. What did the president say in January? He said, no, he said, he's being transparent. The president of China is being transparent. We owe him a debt of gratitude. We have to thank him. And then what happened was we started talking about using the Defense Act to make sure we go out and get whatever is needed out there to protect people. And again, I go back to this. He had nothing. He did virtually nothing. And then he gets out of the hospital and he talks about, don't worry, it's all going to be over soon. Come on. There's not another serious scientist in the world who thinks it's going to be over soon.
Come on, man.
I say over soon. I say we're learning to live with it. We have no choice. We can't lock ourselves up in a basement like Joe does. He has the ability to lock himself up. I don't know. He's obviously made a lot of money someplace, but he has this living in a basement. People can't do that. By the way, I, as the president, couldn't do that. I'd love to put myself in the basement or in a beautiful room in the White House and go away for a year and a half until it disappears.
He would?
I can't do that. And Kirsten, every meeting I had, and I'd meet a lot of families, including Gold Star families and military families, every meeting I had, and I had to meet them. I had to. It would be horrible to have canceled everything. I said, this is dangerous.
I think this is where he claims he got the virus from a Gold Star family.
I learned a lot. Great doctors, great hospitals. And now I recovered. 99.9 of young people recover. 99% of people recover. We have to recover. We can't close up our nation. We have to open our school, and we can't close up our nation, or you're not going to have a nation.
Things are open. People just aren't going out.
Has said young people can get sick with COVID-19 and can pass it. Vice President Biden, I want to talk broadly about strategy, though.
Can I respond to that?
30 seconds, please, and then I have a question.
No, number one, he says that we're learning to live with it. People are learning to die with it. You folks home will have an empty chair at the kitchen table this morning. That man or wife going to bed tonight and reaching over to try to touch their, out of habit, where their wife or husband was, is gone. Learning to live with it. Come on.
This is not good for Trump.
Because he has never said, you said it's dangerous. When's the last time? Is it really dangerous still? Are we dangerous? You tell the people it's dangerous now? What should they do about the danger? And you say, I take no responsibility.
Let me talk about your two.
Excuse me, I take full responsibility.
For what?
It's not my fault that he came here. It's China's fault. And you know what? It's not Joe's fault.
He takes full responsibility. It's just not his fault.
It's China's fault. They kept it from going into the rest of China for the most part. But they didn't keep it from coming out to the world, including Europe and ourselves.
Vice President Biden.
The fact is that when we knew it was coming, when it hit, what happened? What did the president say? He said, don't worry. It's going to go away. Be gone by Easter. Don't worry. The warm weather. Don't worry. Maybe inject bleach. He said he was kidding when he said that, but a lot of people thought it was serious.
Inject bleach.
A whole range of things the president has said. Even today, he thinks we are in control. We're about to lose 200,000 more people.
President Trump.
Look, perhaps just to finish this, I was kidding on that, but just to finish this. When I closed, he said I shouldn't have closed. And that went on for months. Nancy Pelosi said the same thing. She was dancing on the streets in Chinatown in San Francisco.
Low energy.
But when I closed, he said, this is a terrible thing. You're xenophobic. I think he called me racist even. And because I was closing it to China. Now he says I should have closed it earlier. It just, Joe, it doesn't work.
I didn't say either of those things.
You certainly did. You certainly did.
I talked about his xenophobia in a different context. It wasn't about closing the border to Chinese coming to the United States.
All right, I want to talk about both of your different strategies to handling
He thought
this.
I shouldn't have closed the border.
Well,
that's obvious.
Do you want to respond to that quickly, Vice President Biden? Okay.
No, I don't want to respond, or no, I don't think
Mr.
that.
Vice President, you suggested you would support new shutdowns if scientists recommended it. What do you say to Americans who are fearful that the cost of shutdowns, the impact on the economy, the higher rates of hunger, depression, domestic and substance abuse outweighs the risk of exposure to the virus?
What I would say is I'm going to shut down the virus, not the country. It's his ineptitude that caused the country to have to shut down in large part.
From getting triggered.
Why businesses have gone under, why schools are closed, why so many people have lost their living, and why they're concerned. Those other concerns are real. That's why he should have been, instead of in a sand trap in his golf course, he should have been negotiating with Nancy Pelosi and the rest of the Democrats and Republicans about what to do about the acts they were passing for billions of dollars to make sure people had the capacity.
But you haven't ruled out more shutdowns.
Well, no, I'm not shutting down the nation, but there are, look, You need standards. The standard is if you have a reproduction rate in a community that's above a certain level, everybody
Trump doesn't
says,
know what the
slow
reproduction
up.
rate is.
More social distancing. Do not open bars and do not open gymnasiums. Do not open until you get this under control, under more control. But when you do open, give the people the capacity to be able to open and have the capacity to do it safely. For example, schools. Schools, they need a lot of money to open. They need to deal with ventilation systems. They need to deal with smaller classes, more teachers, more pods. And he's refused to support that money, or at least up to now.
Let's talk about schools. President Trump,
I think we have to respond, if I might.
Please, and then I have a follow-up.
Thank you, and I appreciate that. Look, all he does is talk about shutdowns, but forget about him. His Democrat governors, Cuomo in New York, you look at what's going on in California, you look at Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Democrats all, they're shut down so tight and they're dying. They're dying.
Nothing's shut down.
And he supports all these people. All he talks about is shutdowns. No, we're not going to shut down, and we have to open our schools. And it's like, as an example, I have a young son. He also tested positive. By the time I spoke to the doctor the second time, he was fine. It just went away. Young people, I guess it's their immune system.
Let me follow up with you, President Trump. You've demanded schools open in person and insist they can do it safely. But just yesterday, Boston became the latest city to move its public school system entirely online after a coronavirus spike. What is your message to parents who worry that sending their children to school will endanger not only their kids, but also their teachers and families?
I want to open the schools. The transmittal rate to the teachers is very small, but I want to open the schools. We have to open our country. We're not going to have a country. You can't do this. We can't keep this country closed. This is a massive country with a massive economy.
Huge
People
country.
are losing their jobs. They're committing suicide. There's depression, alcohol, drugs at a level that nobody's ever seen before. There's abuse, tremendous abuse. We have to open our country.
Abuse.
You know, I've said it often. The cure cannot be worse than the problem itself. And that's what's happening. And he wants to close down. He'll close down the country if one person in our massive bureaucracy says we should close it down.
Vice President Biden, your response.
Simply not true. We ought to be able to walk and chew gum at the same time. We ought to be able to safely open, but would they need resources to open? You need to be able to, for example, if you're going to open a business, have social distancing within the business. You need to have, if you have a restaurant, you need to have plexiglass dividers so people cannot infect one another. You need to be in a position where you can take testing rapidly and know whether a person is in fact infected. You need to be able to trace. You need to be able to provide all the resources that are needed to do this. And that is not inconsistent with saying that we're going to make sure that we can open safely. And by the way, all you teachers out there, not that many of you are going to die, so don't worry about it. Come on.
President Trump, let me follow up with you quickly.
By the way, I will say this. If you go and look at what's happened to New York, it's a ghost town. It's a ghost town. And when you talk about plexiglass, these are restaurants that are dying. These are businesses with no money. Putting a plexiglass is unbelievably expensive.
Plexiglass.
And it's not the answer. I mean, you're going to sit there in a cubicle wrapped around with plastic. These are businesses that are dying, Joe. You can't do that to people. You just can't. Take a look at New York and what's happened to my wonderful city for so many years. I loved it. It was vibrant. It's dying. Everyone's leaving New York.
Take a look at what New York has done in terms of turning the curve down in terms of the number of people dying. And I don't look at this in terms of the way he does. Blue states and red states. They're all the United States. And look at the states that are having such a spike.
Trump's getting crushed, guys.
The coronavirus. They're the red states. They're the states in the Midwest. They're the states in the upper Midwest. That's where the spike is occurring significantly. But they're all Americans. They're all Americans. And what we have to do is say, wear these masks, number one. Make sure we get the help that the businesses need that has money's already been passed to do that. It's been out there since the beginning of the summer, and nothing's happened.
President, New York has lost more than 40,000 people, 11,000 people in nursing homes.
President Trump, what about...
When you say spike, take a look at what's happening in Pennsylvania, where they've had it closed. Take a look at what's happening with your friend in Michigan, where her husband's the only one allowed to do anything. It's been like a prison. Now it was just ruled unconstitutional. Take a look at North Carolina. They're having spikes, and they've been closed. And they're getting
the look on
killed
Joe's
financially.
face.
We can't let that happen, Joe. You can't let that happen. We have to open up.
Joe's not
And
letting.
we
Everything's
understand
happening
the
under
disease.
Trump's
We
watch,
have to
remember.
protect our seniors. We have to protect our elderly. We have to protect especially our seniors with heart problems and diabetes problems. And we will protect them. We have the best testing in the world by far. That's why we have so many cases.
Let me follow up with
no.
you before we move on to our next section. President Trump, this week you called Dr. Anthony Fauci, the nation's best-known infectious disease expert, quote,
a disaster.
You described him and other medical experts as, quote, idiots. If you're not listening to them, who are you listening to as you fight this?
I'm listening to all of them, including Anthony. I get along very well with Anthony. But he did say, don't wear masks. He
7 months ago, dude.
As you know, this is not.
What did
going to be
he
a
say
problem.
7 months ago?
I think he's a Democrat, but that's okay. He said this is not going to be a problem. We are not going to have a problem at all. When Joe says that, I said, Anthony Fauci said, and others, and many others, and I'm not knocking him a lot. Nobody knew. Look,
what?
Nobody knew what this thing was. Nobody knew where it was coming from, what it was. We've learned a lot. But Anthony said, don't wear masks. Now he wants to wear masks. Anthony also
we've
said,
learned a lot.
If you look back, exact words. Here's his exact words. This is no problem. This is going to go away soon. So he's allowed to make mistakes. He happens to be a good person.
Vice President Biden, your response quickly, and then we're going to move on to the next section.
My response is that think about what the president knew in January and didn't tell the American people. He was told this was a serious virus that spread in the air, and it was much worse than the flu. He went on record and said to one of your colleagues, recorded, that in fact he knew how dangerous it was, but he didn't want to tell us. He didn't want to tell us because he didn't want us to panic. He didn't want us. Americans don't panic. He panicked. But guess what? In the meantime, we find out in the New York Times the other day that, in fact, his folks went to Wall Street and said this is a really dangerous thing. And a memo out of that meeting, not from his administration, but from some of the brokers, said sell short because we got to get moving.
Wow.
It's a dangerous problem.
Well,
this is devastating.
30 seconds to respond, and then we're
The
going
Wall
to
Street
move on.
one, I don't know. Somebody went to Wall Street. You're the one that takes all the money from Wall Street. I don't take it.
I haven't.
You have raised a lot of money, tremendous amounts of money. And every time you raise money, deals are made, Joe. I could raise so much more money as president and as somebody that knows most of those people.
Self-destructing.
I could call the heads of Wall Street, the heads of every company in America. I would blow away every record, but I don't want to do that.
Biden's right to just laugh.
Position. And then you bring up Wall Street. You shouldn't be bringing up Wall Street because you're the one that takes the money from Wall Street, not me. I could blow away your records that like you wouldn't believe. We don't need money. We have plenty of money. In fact, we beat Hillary Clinton with a tiny fraction of the money that she was able.
All right, gentlemen, we're going to move on.
Don't tell me about Wall Street.
Average contribution, $43.
All right, we're going to move on to our next section,
Perfect,
which is
perfect,
national
perfect.
security. And I do want to start with
my
the
God.
security of our elections and some breaking news from overnight. Just last night, top intelligence officials confirmed again that both Russia and Iran are working to influence this election. Both countries have obtained U.S. voter registration information, these officials say, and Iran sent intimidating messages to Florida voters. This question goes to you, Mr. Vice President. What would you do to put an end to this threat? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
I made it clear, and I ask everyone else to take the pledge. I made it clear that any country, no matter who it is, that interferes in American elections will pay a price. They will pay a price. And it's been overwhelmingly clear this election, I won't even get into the last one, this election, that Russia has been involved, China has been involved to some degree, and now we learn that Iran is involved. They will pay a price if I'm elected. They're interfering with American sovereignty. That's what's going on right now. They're interfering with American sovereignty. And to the best of my knowledge, I don't think the president said anything to Putin about it. I don't think he's talking to them a lot. I don't think he said a word. I don't know why he hadn't said a word to Putin about it. And I don't know what he has recently said, if anything, to the Iranians. My guess is he'd probably be more outspoken with regard to the Iranians. But the point is this, folks. We are in a situation where we have foreign countries trying to interfere in the outcome of our election. His own national security advisor told him that what is happening with his buddy, I will. His buddy, Rudy Giuliani, he's being used as a Russian pawn. He's being fed information that is Russian, that is not true. And then what happens? Nothing happens. And then you find out that everything that's going on here about Russia is wanting to make sure that I do not get elected the next president of the United States, because they know I know them and they know me. I don't understand why this president is unwilling to take on Putin when he's actually paying bounties to kill American soldiers in Afghanistan, when he's engaged in activities that are trying to destabilize all of NATO. I don't know why he doesn't do it, but it's worth asking the question, why isn't that being done? Any country that interferes with us will, in fact, pay a price because they're affecting our sovereignty.
President Trump, same question to you. Let me ask the question. You're going to have 2 minutes to respond. For 2 elections in a row now, there has been substantial interference from foreign adversaries. What would you do in your next term to put an end to this? 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Well, let me respond to the first part, as Joe answered. Joe got $3.5 million from Russia, and it came through Putin because he was very friendly with the former mayor of Moscow, and it was the mayor of Moscow's wife. And you got $3.5 million. Your family got $3.5 million, and you know, someday you're going to have to explain, why did you get 3.5? I never got.
I don't think this is working for
Trump. I don't get money from Russia. Now, about your thing last night, I knew all about that, and through John Ratcliffe, who is fantastic, DNI, he said the one thing that's common to both of them, they both want you to lose, because there has been nobody tougher to Russia. Between the sanctions,
John told Trump about Biden's thing. Got it. Okay.
Between the sanctions, between all of what I've done with NATO, you know, I've got the NATO countries to put up an extra $130 billion, going to $420 billion a year. That's to guard against Russia. I sold, while he was selling pillows and sheets, I sold tank busters to Ukraine. There has been nobody tougher.
This is crazy.
On Russia than Donald Trump. And I'll tell you, they were so bad. They took
high
over
thread count cotton.
The submarine port. You remember that very well. During your term, during you and Barack Obama, they took over a big part of what should have been Ukraine. You handed it to them, but you were getting a lot of money from Russia. They were paying you a lot of money, and they probably still are. But now, with what came out today, it's even worse.
Wow.
All of the emails, the horrible emails of the kind of money that you were raking in, you and your family. And Joe, you were vice president when some of this was happening, and it should have never happened. And I think you owe an explanation to the American people. Why is it? Somebody just had a news conference a little while.
What's
ago
the
who was
allegation?
essentially supposed to work with you and your family, but what he said was damning. And regardless of me, I think you have to clean it up and talk to the American people. Maybe you can do it right now.
Vice President
He's
Biden,
muted. Oh, my God.
and then I do want to follow up on the election security.
I have not taken a penny from any foreign source ever in my life. We learned that this president paid 50 times the tax in China, has a secret bank account with China, does business in China.
Oh, my God.
And, in fact, is talking
Biden's
about
on
me
fire.
taking money. I have not taken a single penny from any country whatsoever, ever. Number one. Number two, this is a president, I have released all of my tax returns, 22 years. Go look at them. 22 years of my tax return. You have not released a single solitary year of your tax return.
He's
What
under
are you
audit.
hiding? Why are you unwilling? The foreign countries are paying you a lot. Russia's paying you a lot. China's paying you a lot. And your hotels and all your businesses all around the country, all around the world. And China's building a new road to a new a golf course you have overseas. So what's going on here? Why don't release your tax return or stop talking about corruption?
President Trump, your response.
First of all, I called my accountants under audit. I'm going to release them as soon as we can. I want to do it, and it'll show how successful, how great this company is. But much more importantly than that, people were saying $750. I asked them a week ago. I said,
Statutory.
what did I pay? They said, sir, you prepaid tens of millions of dollars. I prepaid my tax. Tens over the last number of years. Tens of millions of dollars I prepaid, because at some point they think it's an estimate. They think I may have to pay tax. So I already prepaid it. Nobody told me that.
Did your accountant
Nobody
tell
told you that.
Excuse
Excuse me. And it wasn't written. Whenever they write this, they keep talking about $750, which I think is a filing fee. But let me just tell you, I prepaid millions and millions of dollars in taxes. Number one. Number two, I don't make money from China. You do. I don't make money from Ukraine. You do. I don't make money from Russia. You made $3.5 million, Joe, and your son gave you. They even have a statement that we have to give 10% to the big man. You're the big man, I think. I don't know, maybe you're not, but you're the big man, I think.
You're the big man, I think.
10% to the big man. Joe, what's that all about? It's terrible.
All right, gentlemen, I want to ask you both some questions about all of this, but I'm going to let you both respond very quickly. You just said you spoke to your accountant about potentially releasing your taxes. Did he tell you when you can release them? Do you have a deadline for when you're going to release them to the American people?
I get treated worse than the Tea Party got treated. Because I have a lot of people in there, deep down in the IRS, they treat me horribly. We made a deal, it was all settled until I decide to run for president. I get treated very badly by the IRS, very unfairly.
Whining.
But we had a deal all done. As soon as we're completed with the deal, I want to release it. But
he's making deals with the IRS now?
Millions of dollars, and it's worse than paying. I paid in advance. It's called prepaying your taxes. I paid in advance.
I want to ask you both about questions regarding your potential foreign entanglements and questions that have been raised to give you both a chance to talk about this more broadly. Respond very quickly, and then I'll get to my question.
Why did he's been saying this for 4 years? Show us. Just show us. Stop playing around. You've been saying for 4 years you're going to release your taxes. Nobody knows it, Mr. President. What they do know is you're not paying your taxes, or you're paying taxes that are so low. When last time he said what he paid, he said, I only pay that little because I'm smart. I know how to game the system. Come on.
Come on, man.
So,
President Trump, and then I want to get to two questions to both of you on this.
I was put through a phony witch hunt for 3 years. It started before I even got elected. They spied on my campaign. No president should ever have to go through what I went through.
Here we go.
Say this. Mueller and 18 angry Democrats and FBI agents all over the place spent $48 million. They went through everything I had, including my tax returns, and they found absolutely no collusion and nothing wrong. $48 million. I guarantee you, if I spent $1 million on you, Joe, I could find plenty wrong. Because the kind of things that you've done and the kind of monies that your family has taken, I mean, your brother made money in Iraq, millions of dollars. Your other brother made a fortune, and it's all through you, Joe. And they say you get some of it, and you do live very well. You have houses all over the place. You live very well.
All right, gentlemen, let me just ask some questions about all of this broadly.
Biden laughing is the perfect response, I think.
The work your son has done in China and for a Ukrainian energy company when you were vice president. In retrospect, was anything about those relationships inappropriate or unethical?
Nothing was unethical. Here's what the deal. With regard to Ukraine, we had this whole question about whether or not, because he was on the board, I later learned of a Burisma, a company, that somehow I had done something wrong. Yet every single solitary person, when he was going through his impeachment, testifying under oath who worked for him, said, I did my job impeccably. I carried out U.S. policy. Not one single solitary thing was out of line. Not a single thing, number one. Number two, the guy who got in trouble in Ukraine was this guy trying to bribe the Ukrainian government to say something negative about me, which they would not do and did not do, because it never, ever, ever happened. My son has not made money in terms of this thing about, what are you talking about, China. I have not had, the only guy made money from China is this guy. He's the only one. Nobody else has made money from China.
President Trump, let me ask my question to you.
But could I just, one thing?
Very quickly.
His son didn't have a job for a long time, was sadly no longer in the military service. I won't get into that. And he didn't have a job. As soon as he became vice president, Burisma, not the best reputation in the world. I hear they paid him $183,000 a month. Listen to this, $183, and they gave him a $3 million upfront payment.
All right.
And he had no energy.
I'm going to let the vice president
That's
respond to that quickly, and then I need to
dishonest.
get to a question to you. Very quickly.
No basis for that. Everybody investigated that. No one said anything he did was wrong in Ukraine.
Okay, President Trump, this is for you. Since you took office, you've never divested from your business. You've personally promoted your properties abroad. A report this week, which was referenced, does indicate that your company has a bank account in China. So how can voters know that you don't have any foreign conflicts of interest?
I have many bank accounts, and they're all listed, and they're all over the place. I mean, I was a businessman doing business. The bank account you're referring to, which is, everybody knows about it, it's listed. The bank account was in 2013. That's what it was. It was opened it was closed in 2015, I believe. And then I decided, because I was thinking about doing a deal in China like millions of other people.
Millions of people are doing deals in China.
I'm not going to do it. Didn't like it. I decided not to do it. Had an account open, and I closed it.
Okay.
Excuse me. And then, unlike him, where he's vice president and he does business, I then decided to run for president after that. That was before. So I closed it before I even ran for president.
He closed it before he even opened it.
Big difference. He is the vice president of the United States, and his son, his brother, and his other brother are getting rich. They're like a vacuum cleaner. They're sucking up money every
President Trump,
place he
thank you.
goes.
We do need to move on. I do want to ask you, Vice President Biden, about China. Let's talk about China more broadly. There have, of course, President Trump has said that they should pay for not being fully transparent in regards to the coronavirus. If you were president, would you make China pay? And please be specific. What would that look like?
Pay
what
what,
I think
though,
China
right?
do is play by the international rules, not like he has done. He has caused the deficit of China to go up, not down, with China, up, not down. We are making sure that in order to do business in China, you have to give all your intellectual property. You have to have a partner in China. It's 51%. We would not do that at all, number one. Number two, we're in a situation where China would have to play by the rules internationally as well. When I met with Xi, when I was still vice president, he said we're setting up air identification zones in the South China Sea. You can't fly through them. I said we're going to fly through them. We just flew B-52, B-1 bombers through it. We're not going to pay attention. They have to play by the rules. And what's he do? He embraces guys like the thugs like in North Korea and the Chinese president and Putin and others, and he pokes his finger in the eye of all of our friends, all of our allies. We make up we're 25% of the world's economy. We need to be having the rest of our friends with us saying to China, these are the rules. You play by them or you're going to pay the price for not paying by them economically. That's the way I will run it. And that's what we did in upholding steel tariffs and a range of other things when we were president and vice president.
All right, let's talk about North Korea.
Excuse me, no, I have to respond to that.
Okay. Very quickly, and then we're going to move on to North Korea.
with $1.5 billion from China to manage after spending 10 minutes in office and being in Air
Now
Force
his son's a billionaire?
Number one. Number two, there's a very strong email talking about your family wanting to make $10 million a year for introductions.
President Trump, on China policy, though, what specifically are you going to do? What specifically are you going to do to
No
make
answer.
China
You're
pay?
not getting
You
an
said
answer.
you're
First of
gonna
all,
make them pay.
China is paying. They're paying billions and billions of dollars. I just gave $28 billion.
New sanctions?
I just gave $28 billion to our farmers.
Taxpayers'
China,
money.
It's what?
Taxpayers' money. Didn't come from
You
China.
know the taxpayer is, it's called China. China
He
paid
still
$28
doesn't know
billion,
how
and
tariffs
you know what
work.
they did to pay it, Joe? They devalued their currency, and they also paid up.
He doesn't know
And
how
you about
tariffs
the
work.
money? Our farmers, our great farmers, because they were targeted. You never charged them anything. Also, I charged them 25% on dumped steel because they were killing our steel industry. We were not going to have a steel industry.
Okay.
And now we have a steel industry.
Okay, Vice President Biden, your response, please.
Our response is, look, this isn't about, there's a reason why he's bringing up all this malarkey. There's a reason for it. He doesn't want to talk about the substantive issues. It's not about his family and my family. It's about your family. And your family's hurting badly. If you're making if you're a middle-class family, you're getting hurt badly right now. You're sitting at the kitchen table this morning deciding, well, we can't get new tires, they're bald because we have to wait another month or so. Or are we going to be able to pay the mortgage? Or who's going to tell her she can't go back to community college? They're the decisions you're making in the middle-class families like I grew up in Scranton and Claymont. They're in trouble. We should be talking about your families, but that's the last thing he wants to talk about.
I want to talk about North Korea.
Excuse me, just
I do
for
want
1
to turn
second,
to
please.
10 seconds, Mr. President.
That's
10
a
seconds.
typical political statement. Let's get off this China thing, and then he looks, the family, around the table, everything. Just a typical politician.
Let's talk about North
a typical
Korea
politician.
now. Okay,
That's why I got elected.
Let's
Let's get off the subject of China. Let's talk sitting around the table.
All right.
Come on, Joe, you can do better.
We're going to talk about North Korea now. President Trump, you've met with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un 3 times.
It's a sinking man looking for a lifesaver.
Beautiful letters with him. You've touted the fact that there hasn't been a war or a long-range missile test, and yet North Korea recently rolled out its biggest ever intercontinental ballistic missile and continues to develop its nuclear arsenal. Do you see that as a betrayal of the relationship you forged? Just 30 seconds here because we need to get on to the next
So when I met with Barack Obama, we sat in the White House right at the beginning, had a great conversation. It was supposed to be 15 minutes, and it was well over an hour.
We had
He
milkshakes.
said the biggest problem we have with North Korea. He indicated we will be in a war with North Korea. Guess what? It would be a nuclear war, and he does have plenty of nuclear capability. In the meantime, I have a very good relationship with him. Different kind of a guy, but he probably thinks the same thing about me. We have a different kind of a relationship. We have a very good relationship, and there's no war. And you know, about 2 months ago, he broke into a certain area. They said, oh, there's going to be trouble. I said, no, they're not, because he's not going to do that. And I was right. Look, instead of being in a war where millions of people, Seoul, you know, is 25 miles away, millions and millions, 32 million people in Seoul, millions of people would be dead right now.
President
we
Trump,
don't have
that's
a war,
30
and
seconds.
I have a good
Thank
relationship.
you. Vice President Biden, to you. North Korea conducted 4 nuclear tests under
down.
the Obama administration. Why do you think you would be able to rein in this persistent threat?
Because I'd make it clear, which we were making clear to China, they had to be part of the deal. Because here's I made it clear, and as a spokesperson of the administration when I went to China, that they said, why are you moving your missile defense up so close? Why are you moving more forces here? Why are you continuing to do military maneuvers with South Korea? I said, because North Korea is a problem, and we're going to continue to do it so we can control them. We're going to make sure we can control them and make sure they cannot hurt us. And so if you want to do something about it, step up and help. If not, it's going to continue. What has he done? He's legitimized North Korea. He's talked about his good buddy, who's a thug.
Beautiful letters.
And he talks about how we're better off, and they have much more capable missiles, able to reach U.S. territory much more easily than ever did before.
Let me follow up with you, Vice President Biden. You've said you wouldn't meet with Kim Jong-un without preconditions. Are there any conditions under which you would meet with him?
On the condition that he would agree that he would be drawing down his nuclear capacity to get the Korean Peninsula should be nuclear-free zone.
All right, let's move on to American families.
They tried
Very
to
quickly,
meet with
10
him.
seconds,
They
President.
tried to meet with him. He wouldn't do it. He didn't like Obama. He didn't like him.
This is a lie.
Okay, I
know
got to
for a
give him a
fact they
chance to
tried.
respond to
This
that.
is a lie.
Do it.
You
And
know,
that's okay. You know what? North Korea, we're not in a war. We have a good relationship. You know, people don't understand. Having a good
President
relationship
Trump,
with
we have
leaders
to
of
move
other
on, 'cause
countries
we
is
have a lot
a
of
good thing.
We have a lot
He's
of questions
belligerent.
to get to.
not
Your
a bad
response.
And we had a good relationship with Hitler before he, in fact, invaded Europe, the rest of Europe. Come on.
Come
The reason
on,
we
man.
Would not meet with President Obama is because President Obama said, we're going to talk about denuclearization. We're not going to legitimize you, and we're going to continue to put stronger and stronger sanctions on you. That's why he wouldn't meet with us.
All right,
And
let's
it didn't
move
happen.
on. Let's
Excuse
move on
me.
to talk about
What
American
didn't happen?
families.
Kristen?
President Trump. Okay, we do
They
need to move
left
on.
me a mess. North Korea was a mess.
We
and
need
in
to
fact,
move
if
on
you
so that
remember
we
the
can
first
get to
2
all
or
of our
3
other
months,
questions tonight,
there was a
President
very
Trump.
dangerous period in my first 3 months before we sort of worked things out a little
Super
bit.
dangerous.
It was a very they left us a mess, and Obama would be, I think, the first to say it was the single biggest problem he thought that our country
Okay, let's move on to American families and the economy. One of the issues that's
That's not
most
a good topic
important
for
to
Trump.
them is health care, as you both know. Today, there was a key vote on a new Supreme Court Justice, Amy Coney Barrett, and health care is at the center of her confirmation fight. Over 20 million Americans get their health insurance through the Affordable Care Act. It's headed to the Supreme Court, and your administration, Mr. President, is advocating for the court to overturn it. If the Supreme Court does overturn that law, those 20 million Americans could lose their health insurance almost overnight. So what would you do if those people have their health insurance
Nothing.
taken away? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Sure. First of all, I've already done something that nobody thought was possible. Through the legislature, I terminated the individual mandate. That is
Disaster.
the worst part of Obamacare, as we call it. The individual mandate where you have to pay a fortune for the privilege of not having to pay for bad health insurance. I terminated. It's gone. Now it's in court because Obamacare is no good. But then I made a decision. Run it as well as you can to my people, great people. Run it as well as you can. I could have gone the other route and made everybody very unhappy. They ran it. Premiums are down, everything's down. Here's the problem. No matter how well you run it, it's no good. What we'd like to do is terminate it. We have the individual mandate done. I don't know that it's going to work. If we don't win, we will have to run it, and we'll have Obamacare, but it'll be better run.
So
but
what's
no
the
longer
plan?
Is Obamacare,
Does anybody
because
understand?
without the individual mandate, it's much different. Pre-existing conditions will always stay. What I would like to do is a much better health care, much better, will always protect people with pre-existing. So I'd like to terminate Obamacare, come up with a brand new, beautiful health care. The Democrats will do it because there'll be tremendous pressure on them, and we might even have the House by that time. And I think we're going to win the House, okay? You'll see, but I think we're going to win the House. But
there's no chance of
better
that.
Health care, always protecting people with pre-existing conditions. And one thing very important, we have 180 million people out there that have great private health care.
They have private
health care. Talking about with Obamacare.
Great, I
Joe
don't know.
Biden is going to terminate all of those policies. These are people that love their health care, people that have been successful.
Almost no one loves their health care.
Been successful. They have 180 million plans, 180 million people, families. Under what he wants to do, which will basically be socialized medicine, he won't even have a choice.
I wish.
They want to terminate 180 million plans.
Not true, though.
We've done an incredible job on health care, and we're going to do even better.
Okay.
Whoa, muted.
President Biden, yes,
Muted.
This is for you, your healthcare
Brutal
plan calls
mute.
for
Oh, my
building
God.
on Obamacare. So my
Mute
question
hammer.
is, what is your plan if the law is ruled unconstitutional by the Supreme Court? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
What I'm going to do is pass Obamacare with a public option. It'll become Biden-care. The public option is an option that says that if you, in fact, do not
Jealous
have
Trump.
the wherewithal to be, if you qualify for Medicaid and you do not have the wherewithal in your state to get Medicaid, you automatically are enrolled, providing competition for insurance companies. That's what's going to happen. Secondly, we're going to make sure we reduce the premiums and reduce drug prices by making sure that there's competition that doesn't exist now by allowing the Medicare to negotiate drug prices with the insurance companies. Thirdly, the idea that I want to eliminate private insurance, the reason why I had such a fight with 20 candidates for the nomination was I support private insurance. That's why not one single person with private insurance would lose their insurance under my plan, nor did they under Obamacare. They did not lose their insurance unless they chose they wanted to go to something else. Lastly, we're going to make sure we're in a situation that we actually protect pre-existing. There's no way he can protect pre-existing conditions. None, zero. You can't do it in the ether. He's been talking about this for a long time. He's never come up with a plan. I guess we're going to get the pre-existing condition plan the same time we get the infrastructure plan that we've been waiting since 17, 18,
I'm going to
19,
steal
20.
the super chat. This is very good.
A few more minutes. I know you're getting anxious. The fact is that he's already cost the American people, because of his terrible handling of the COVID virus and the economic spillover, 10 million people have lost their private insurance. And he wants to take away 22 million more people who have it under Obamacare, and over 110 million people with pre-existing conditions. And all the people from COVID are going to have pre-existing conditions. What are they going to do?
I have a follow-up for you, Vice President Biden. It relates to something that President Trump said. He's accusing you of wanting socialized medicine. What do you say to people who have concerns that your health care plan, which includes a government insurance option, takes the country one step closer to a health care system run entirely by the government?
We wish, right?
It's ridiculous. It's like saying that, the idea that the fact that there's a public option that people can choose, that makes it a socialist plan. Look, the difference between the president, I think healthcare is not a privilege, it's a right. Everyone should have the right to have affordable healthcare. And I am very proud of my plan. It's gotten endorsed by all the major labor unions, as well as a whole range of other people who, in fact, are concerned in the medical field. This is something that's going to save people's lives, and this is going to give some people an opportunity to have health care for their children. How many of you home are worried and rolling around in bed tonight wondering what in God's name you're going to do if you get sick because you've lost your home insurance, your health insurance your company's gone under? We have to provide health insurance for people at an affordable rate, and that's what I do.
President
Excuse
Trump,
me, he was
your
there
response.
for 47 years. He didn't do it. He was now there as vice president for 8 years, and it's not like it was 25 years ago. It was 3 3/4. It was just a little while ago, right? Less than 4 years ago. He didn't do anything. He didn't do it. He wants socialized medicine, and it's not that he wants it. His vice president, I mean, she is more liberal than Bernie Sanders and wants it even more. Bernie Sanders wants it. The Democrats want it. You're going to have socialized medicine, just like he went with fracking. We're not going to have fracking. We're going to stop fracking. We're going to stop fracking. Then he goes to Pennsylvania after he gets a nomination, where he got very lucky to get it. And he goes to Pennsylvania and he says, oh, we're going to have fracking. And you never asked that question. And by the way, so far, I respect very much the way you're handling this, I have to say.
By the way.
But somebody should ask the question. He goes
Trump
for
couldn't
a
help
year.
himself. He had to attack the moderator. He had to attack her.
We have a number of topics we're
No,
going
but
to get
that's a
to.
big- that's a big question.
We're going to get to. We're going to get to.
It's
a
the
number
same
of
thing with
topics.
socialized
I have
medicine.
to respond.
Vice President, your response, please.
My response is people deserve to have affordable health care, period. Period, period, period. And the Biden care proposal will, in fact, provide for that affordable health care, lower premiums. What we're going to do is going to cost some money. It's going to cost over $750 billion over 10 years to do it. And they're going to have lower premiums. You can buy into the better plans, the cheaper plans, lower your premiums, deal with unexpected billing, and have your drug prices drop significantly. He keeps talking about it. He hasn't done a thing.
He's had 4 years. He's done nothing.
Not a thing.
Interesting, when
Very
he
quickly,
says,
then I want to talk
when
about
he
what's
says
happening on
public
Capitol
option,
Hill.
he's talking about socialized medicine.
No.
And when he and healthcare. When he talks
Trump
about
doesn't get it.
public option, he's talking about destroying your Medicare. Totally
Wrong.
destroyed, and destroying your Social Security.
What?
And this whole country will come down. You
A
know,
public
Bernie
option
Sanders tried it
destroys
in his
Social
state.
Security?
He tried it in his state. His governor was a very liberal governor. They want to make it work.
Okay,
It
let's
was
let Vice President
impossible
Biden
to work.
respond.
It doesn't
Vice
work.
President
He's
Biden,
a very
your response.
confused guy. He thinks he's running against somebody else.
Yeah.
He's running against Joe Biden.
Right.
I beat all those other people because I disagreed with them. Joe Biden he's running against.
This is
And
brutal,
the idea
guys.
that we're in a situation that they're going to destroy Medicare. This is the guy that the actuary at Medicare said, if in fact, at Social Security, if in fact he continues to withhold his plan to withhold the tax on Social Security will be bankrupt by 2023 with no way to make up for it.
It's
This is the
unclear,
guy who's
actually.
tried to cut Medicare. So the idea that Donald Trump is lecturing me on Social Security and Medicare? Come on.
Come on, man.
He tried to get
10
rid of.
seconds,
He
Mr.
tried to hurt
President, and then I
Social
have to go to
Security
another
years
question.
ago. Years ago.
In
Go back and look at the
1993,
records.
he said we could
tried to hurt
negotiate
Social
it.
Security years ago.
All
One
right,
thing,
let's move
but
on.
this
I'm
is
gonna
the
move
guy
on.
that
What a
they
lie.
announced
President, I have
last
to move
week.
on to the next question.
27
We're
years
not
ago.
going to
Will
have time to talk about it.
if I'm elected. If he's elected, the stock market will crash.
Okay, let's move on to the next
saying
question
Let me respond.
very quickly.
The idea that the stock market is booming is his only measure of what's happening. Where I come from in Scranton and Claymont, the people don't live off of the stock market.
Beautiful.
Just in the last three years during this crisis, the billionaires in this country made, according to the Wall Street, $700 billion more dollars.
And by the way, stocks
$700
do better
billion
under Democratic presidents.
Because
By the way.
that's his only measure. What happens to the ordinary people out there? What happens to them?
Let's talk about what's happening on Capitol Hill. We're going to
Kristen,
move on, gentlemen.
401ks are through the roof.
We're gonna
People's
move on.
stock are through the roof.
All right.
And he doesn't come from Scranton. That's like he lived there for a short period of time before he even knew it.
We're going to move on
and
to
he
the next
left.
question.
And the people of Pennsylvania
Let me
will
move
show
on
you
to my
that.
next question.
Oh, he
gentlemen.
left
As of
Scranton?
tonight,
Well, then
more than
vote for
12
Trump,
million
right?
People are out of work, and as of tonight, 8 million more Americans have fallen into poverty, and more families are going hungry every day. Those hit hardest are women and people of color. They see Washington fighting over a relief bill. Mr. President, why haven't you been able to get them the help they need? 30 seconds here.
Nancy
Nancy
Pelosi.
Pelosi doesn't want to approve it. I
There it
do.
But you're the president.
I do, but I still have to get. Unfortunately, that's one of the reasons I think we're going to take over the House, because of her. Nancy Pelosi doesn't want to approve anything because she'd love to have some victories on a date called November 3rd. Nancy Pelosi does not want to approve it. We are ready, willing, and able to do something. Don't forget, we've already approved 3 plans, and it's gone through, including the Democrats, in all fairness.
3
This one
plans.
She doesn't want. It's near the election because she thinks it helps her politically. I think it hurts her politically.
All right, Mr. Vice President,
The Republican leader in the United States Senate said he can't pass it. He will not be able to pass it. He does not have Republican votes. Why isn't he talking to his Republican friends?
Let me follow up with you, Vice President
Wow.
Biden, because let me ask Vice President Biden a question. You are the leader of the Democratic Party. Why have you not pushed the Democrats to get a deal for the American people?
Well, I have, and they have pushed it. Look, they passed this act all the way back in the beginning of the summer.
He's a candidate,
This is
guys.
like
I mean,
it's not
you know.
new. It's been out there. This HEROES Act has been sitting there. And look at what's happening. When I was in charge of the Recovery Act with $800 billion, I was able to get $145 billion to local communities that have to balance their budgets and states that have to balance their budgets, so they didn't have to fire firefighters, teachers, first responders, law enforcement officers, so they could keep their cities and counties running. He will not support that. They have not done a thing for them. And Mitch McConnell said, let them go bankrupt. Let them go bankrupt. Come on. What's the matter with these guys?
The bill that was passed in the House was a bailout of badly run, high-crime, Democrat, all run by Democrats, cities and states.
Wow.
It was a way of getting a lot of money, billions.
That's a way to win
billions
swing
of dollars
states,
to
huh?
these states. It was also a way of getting a lot of money from our people's pockets to people that come into our country illegally. We were going to take care of everything for them. And what that does, and I'd love to do that, I'd love to help them, but what that does, everybody all over the world will start pouring into our country. We can't do it. This was a way of taking care of them. This was a way of spending on things that had nothing to do with COVID, as per your question. But it was really a big bailout for badly run Democrat cities and states.
All right,
By the way,
I want to.
if I get elected, I'm running as a proud Democrat, but I'm going to be an American president.
Obvious.
I don't see red states and blue states.
Obvious
what I
response.
see is American, United States.
Democrat
Folks,
states.
Every single state out there finds themselves in trouble. They're going to start laying off, whether they're red or blue, cops, firefighters, first responders, because they have to balance their budget. And the founders were smart. They allowed the federal government to deficit spend to compensate for the United States of America.
Trump's dead in the
I want
water.
to talk about the minimum wage, gentlemen. Mr. Vice President,
dead in the water.
We are talking a lot about struggling small businesses
Yes.
and business owners these days. Do you think this is the right time to ask them to raise the minimum wage? You, of course, support a $15 federal minimum wage.
I do, because I think one of the things we're going to have to do is we're going to have to bail them out, too. We should be bailing them out now, those small businesses. You got 1 in 6 of them going under. They're not going to be able to make it back. They passed a package that allows us to be able to call PPP. Money is supposed to go to help them do everything from organize how they can deal with their businesses being open safely. Schools, how they can make classrooms smaller, how they can hire more teachers, how they can put ventilation systems in. They need the help. The businesses as well as the schools need the help. But these guys will not help them. Is not giving them any of the money.
We are going to move on to immigration,
one thing very
but I
quickly,
want
he
to
said
get
we
your
have to help our
reaction.
small businesses by raising the minimum wage. That's not helping. I think it should be a state option. Alabama is different than New York. New York is different from Vermont. Every state is different. It should be a state option.
You said very
recently. We have to help. It's very important. We have to help our small businesses. How are you helping your small businesses when you're forcing wages? What's going to happen, and what's been proven to happen, is when you do that, these small businesses fire many of their employees.
You said very
Not true,
recently you would
by the way.
consider raising the federal minimum
it.
wage to $15
Say
an
it.
hour. You said recently you would consider raising the federal minimum wage to
What I
$15 an hour.
really
Is that
like,
still the case?
And I would consider it.
Yeah, but he's got to attack it if Biden wants.
Administration?
In a second administration, but not to a level
Second
that's
term,
going to
not
put all these
first.
businesses out of business. It should be a state option. Look, I've lived in different places. I know different places. They're all different. Some places, $15 is not so bad. In other places, other states, $15 would be
Okay, President Trump,
ruinous.
thank you. Quick response.
That
from
is
President
true.
Biden.
I'm in favor of a regionalized minimum wage.
Be below poverty. People are making $6, $7, $8 an hour. These first responders, we all clap for as they come down the street because they've allowed us to make it. What's happening? They deserve a minimum wage of $15. Anything below that puts you below the poverty level. And there is no evidence that when you raise the minimum wage, businesses go out of business. That is simply not true.
We're going to talk
No
about
solve.
immigration. We're going to talk about immigration
Wow.
now, gentlemen. And we're going to talk about families within this context. Mr. President, your administration separated
Biden
children
is
from
doing
their parents
legal?
at the border, at least 4,000 kids. You've since reversed your zero-tolerance policy, but the United States can't locate the parents of more than 500 children. So how will these families ever be reunited?
Children are brought here by coyotes and lots of bad people, cartels, and they're brought here, and they used to use them to get into our country. We now have as strong a border as we've ever had. We're over 400 miles of brand new wall. You see the numbers, and we let people in, but they have to come in legally, and they come in through
But
merit.
how will you reunite
Not the
these
question.
kids with their
Let
families,
me just tell you,
Mr.
they
President?
built cages. You know, they used to say, I built the cages. And then they had a picture in a certain newspaper. There was a picture of these horrible cages. And they said, look at these cages. President Trump built them. And then it was determined they were built in 2014. That was him.
Do you
They
have a
built
plan to
cages.
reunite the kids
Yes,
with
we're
their
working on
families?
it we're trying.
We're looking at it
hard.
very
But a lot
strongly.
of these kids come out without the parents. They come over through cartels and through coyotes and through gangs.
Vice President Biden, let me bring you into this
525
conversation. Quick response and then another question to you.
These 500 plus kids came with parents. They separated them at the border to make it a disincentive to come to begin with. Real tough. We're really strong. And guess what? They cannot, it's not coyotes didn't bring them over. Their parents were with them. They got separated from their parents. And it makes us a laughing stock and violates every notion of who we are as a nation.
Oh, my God.
Let me ask you a follow-up
Kristen,
question.
they did it. We changed the policy.
Your response
they
to that?
They did it. We changed.
did not
They built the
separate
cages.
They-
who built the cages, Joe?
Let's talk about what
Who
we're
built the
talking about.
cages,
Let's
Joe?
talk about what we're talking about. What happened? Parents were ripped, their kids were ripped from their arms and separated. And now they cannot find over 500 of sets of those parents, and those kids are alone. Nowhere to go. Nowhere to go. It's criminal. It's criminal.
Let me ask
Kristen,
you
I will
about
say this.
immigration.
They
10
went down.
seconds,
We
and then
brought
I need to ask
reporters,
you.
everything. They are so well taken care of.
Oh, my
They're in
God.
facilities that were so clean.
But some
and
of
have
them
gotten
haven't been
such
reunited
But
with
just
their
ask
families.
one
They're
question.
alone, but they have
Who built the
toothpaste.
cages? I'd love you to ask him that. Who built the cages?
Let me ask about your immigration policy, Mr. Vice President. The Obama administration did fail to deliver immigration reform, which had been a key promise during the administration. It also presided over record deportations as well as family detentions at the border before changing course. So why should voters trust you with an immigration overhaul now?
Because we made a mistake. It took too long to get it right. It took too long to get it right. I'll be president of the United States, not vice president of the United States. And the fact is, I've made it very clear. Within 100 days, I'm going to send to the United States Congress a pathway to citizenship for over 11 million undocumented people. And all of those so-called dreamers, those DACA kids, they're going to be immediately certified again to be able to stay in this country and put on a path to citizenship. The idea that they are being sent home by this guy and they want to do that is they've gone to a country they've never seen before. I can imagine you're 5 years old, your parents are taking you across the Rio Grande River and it's illegal. And you say, oh no, Mom, leave me here. I'm not going to go with you. They've been here. Many of them are model citizens. Over 20,000 of them are first responders out there taking care of people during this crisis. We owe them. We owe them.
President
Kristen,
Trump,
he
your
had
reaction.
8 years to do what he said he was going to do. And I've changed.
We did.
Without having a specific, we got rid of catch and release. We got rid of a lot of horrible things that they put in and that they lived with. But he had 8 years he was vice president. He did nothing except build cages to keep children in.
Vice President
Wrong.
Biden, your response.
The catch and release, you know what he's talking about there? If in fact you had a family came across and they were arrested, they in fact were given a date to show up for their hearing. They were released. And guess what? They showed up for a hearing. And this is the first president in the history of the United States of America that anybody seeking asylum has to do it in another country. That's never happened before.
That's
in
true.
America. That's
Agree,
never happened
disagree,
before in
but
America.
that's true.
You come to the United States and you make your case that I seek asylum based on the following premise, why I deserve it under American law. They're sitting in squalor on the other side of the river.
President Trump, your response,
So
30
important.
seconds, and then we'll move
It
on.
just shows that he has no understanding of immigration or the laws.
I think it's
Catch
the
and
opposite.
release is a disaster. A murderer would come in, a rapist would come in, a very bad person would come in. We would take their name. We have to release them into our country. And then you say they come back. Less than 1% of the people come back. We have to send ICE out and Border Patrol out to find them, we would say, come back in 2 years, 3 years, we're going to give you a court case. You need Perry Mason. We're going to give you a court case. When you say they come back, they don't come back, Joe. They never come back. Only the really, I hate to say this, but those with the lowest IQ.
Oh my God.
President Trump, let's give Vice President Biden a chance to respond.
Look at Biden's reaction. Oh my God.
Vice President Biden, your response.
Know the law. What he's telling you is simply not true.
Well, check it out. They don't come back.
Check it out.
All right, let's move on.
But we don't have to worry about it because they
section.
terminated it, so we don't have to worry
Once
about
Trump
it.
mentioned low IQ, it's like, let's just go with something else.
Where in God's name they're going to be in Los
Take the loss.
All right, let's talk about our next section, which is race in America. And I want to talk about the way Black and brown Americans experience race in this country.
Uh-oh.
Part of that experience is something called the talk. It happens regardless of class and income. Parents who feel they have no choice but to prepare their children for the chance that they could be targeted, including by the police, for no reason other than the color of their skin. Mr. Vice President, in the next 2 minutes, I want you to speak directly to these families. Do you understand why these parents fear for their children?
I do. I do. You know, my daughter is a social worker, and she's written a lot about this. She has a graduate degree from the University of Pennsylvania in social work. And you know,
didn't Trump go there?
One of the reasons why I ended up working on the east side of Wilmington, Delaware, which is 90% African American, was to learn more about what was going on. I never had to tell my daughter, if she's pulled over, make sure she puts, for a traffic stop, put both hands on top of the wheel and don't reach for the glove box because someone may shoot you. But a black parent, no matter how wealthy or how poor they are, has to teach their child, when you're walking down the street, don't have a hoodie on when you go across the street. Making sure that you, in fact, if you get pulled over, just yes, sir, no, sir, hands on top of the wheel, because you are, in fact, the victim, whether you're a person making child of a $300,000 a year person or someone who's on food stamps. The fact of the matter is, there is institutional racism in America. And we have always said, we've never lived up to it, that we hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women are created equal. But guess what?
Look at Trump.
We have never, ever lived up to it. But we've always constantly been moving the needle further and further to inclusion, not exclusion. This is the first president to come along and says, that's the end of that. We're not going to do that anymore. We have to provide for economic opportunity, better education, better health care, better access to schooling, better access to opportunity to borrow money to start businesses. All the things we can do, and I've laid out a clear plan as to how to do those things, just to give people a shot. It's about accumulating the ability to have wealth as well as it is to be free from violence.
President Trump, same question to you, and let me remind you of the question. I would like you to speak directly to these families. Do you understand why these parents fear for their children?
Yes, I do. And again, he's been in government 47 years. He never did a thing, except in 1994,
lack
when
of
he
empathy.
did such harm to the black community. And they were called, and he called them super predators. And he said that. He said super predators. And they have never lived that down. 1994, your crime bill, the super predators. Nobody has done more for the black community than Donald Trump. And if you look, with the exception of Abraham Lincoln, possible exception, but the exception of Abraham Lincoln, nobody has done what I've done. Criminal justice reform, Obama and Joe didn't do it. I don't even think they tried because they had no chance at doing it. They might have wanted to do it, but if you had to see the arms I had to twist to get that done, it was not a pretty picture, and everybody knows it, including some very liberal people that cried in my office. They cried in the Oval Office. 2 weeks later, they're out saying, gee, we have to defeat him. Criminal justice reform, prison reform.
It's all about Trump. Do you guys notice?
With Tim Scott, a great senator from South Carolina. He came in with this incredible idea for opportunity zones. It's one of the most successful programs. People don't talk about it. Tremendous investment is being made. Biggest beneficiary, the black.
Do you guys see how this has nothing to do with the question?
And then historically black colleges and universities. After 3 years of coming to the office, I love some of those guys. They were great. They came into the office and they said, I said,
Biden visibly confused.
I said, why do you keep coming back? Because we have no funding. I said, you don't have to come back every year. We have to come back because President Obama would never give them long-term funding, and I did. 10-year long-term funding, and I gave them more money than they asked for because they said, I think you need more. And I said, the only bad part about this is I may never see you again. Because
they said, sir?
I'm very friendly with them, and they like me and I like them. But I saved historically black colleges and universities.
Okay, and we're going to talk about both of your records, but your response to that, Vice President?
My response to that is I never, ever said what he accused me of saying. The fact of the matter is, in 2000, though, after the crime bill had been in the law for a while, this is a guy who said, the problem with the crime bill, there's not enough people in jail. There's not enough people in jail. And go on my website, get the quote, the date when he said it. Not enough people. He talked about marauding gangs, young gangs, and the people who are going to maraud our cities. This is a guy who in the Central Park five innocent black kids, he continued to push for making sure that they got the death penalty. None of them were guilty of the crimes they were suggested. Look, and talk about granted, he did in fact let 20 people, he commuted 20 people's sentences. We commuted over 1,000 people's sentences. Over 1,000. The very law he's talking about is a law that, in fact, initiated by Barack Obama. And secondly, we're in a situation here
did I have a typo?
The federal prison system was reduced by 38,000 people under our administration. And one of these things we should be doing, there should be no minimum mandatories in the law. That's why I'm offering $20 billion to states to change their state laws to eliminate minimum mandatories and set up drug courts. No one should be going to jail because they have a drug problem. They should be going to rehabilitation, not to jail. We should fundamentally change the system, and that's what I'm going to do.
But why didn't he do it 4 years ago? Why didn't you do that 4 years ago, even less than that? Why didn't you do it? You were vice president. You keep talking about all these things you're going to do, and you're going to do this.
Just like Trump, who says he needs a second term to do anything.
You guys did nothing.
We did.
You know, Joe, I ran because of you. I ran because of Barack Obama, because you did a poor job. If I thought you did a good job, I would have never run. I would have never run. I ran because of you. I'm looking at you now. You're a politician. I ran because of you.
All right, Vice President Biden, your response to that, and then I do have some questions for both of you.
Well, I tell you what, I hope he does look at me, because what's happening here is, you know who I am, you know who he is, you know his character, you know my character.
Right.
You know our reputations for honor and telling the truth. I am anxious to have this race. I am anxious to see this take place. The character of the country is on the ballot. Our character is on the ballot. Look at us closely.
Let me ask some follow-up. Please respond, and then we're going to have follow-up
questions. If this stuff is true about Russia, Ukraine, China, other countries, Iraq.
While Trump repeats this, I hate to mute. We did hit 56,000 live viewers on YouTube, which is a record. Previous was 55. So I really appreciate that.
Corrupt politician.
Nobody's
President Trump, I want to stay on the issue of race. We're talking about the issue.
Laptop from hell.
President Trump, we're
Laptop
talking
from
about
hell.
race right now, and I do want to stay on the issue of
Laptop
race.
from hell.
President Trump,
And I have to respond to that.
Please,
because look,
very quickly.
there are 50 former national intelligence folks who said that what he's accusing me of is a Russian plant. They have said that this has all the five former heads of the CIA, both parties, say what he's saying is a bunch of garbage. Nobody believes it except his and his good friend Rudy Giuliani.
You mean the laptop is now another Russia hoax?
That's exactly what.
Is this
that's
where you're
exactly
going?
what.
This is where he's going. The laptop is Russia,
Gentlemen,
Russia.
I want to stay on the issue of race.
You
okay?
have to be kidding. Here we go again with Russia.
We're going to continue on the issue of race. Mr. President, you've described the Black Lives Matter movement as a symbol of hate. You've shared a video of a man chanting white power to millions of your supporters. You've said that black professional athletes exercising their First Amendment rights should be fired. What do you say to Americans who say that kind of language from a president is contributing to a climate of hate and racial strife?
Well, you have to understand, the first time I ever heard of Black Lives Matter, they were chanting pigs in a blanket, talking about police. Pigs, talking about our police. Pigs in a blanket, fry them like bacon. I said, that's a horrible thing. And they were marching down the street.
Horrible.
And that was my first glimpse of Black Lives Matter. I thought it was a terrible thing. As far as my relationships with all people, I think I have great relationships with all people. I am the least racist person in this room.
Well, what do you say to Americans who are
In the whole room, guys, not just on the stage.
I mean, I don't know what to say. I got criminal justice reform done and prison reform.
He's
and
far less
opportunity
racist than
zones. I
Melania.
took care of black colleges and universities. I don't know what to say. They can say anything. I mean, they can say anything. It makes me sad because I am the least racist person. I can't even see the audience because it's so dark. But I don't care who's in the audience. I'm the least racist person in this room.
Got it.
Okay.
Eric
Vice
Trump is
President
more
Biden, let me
racist.
ask you
Okay.
very quickly, and then I have a follow-up question for you.
Abraham Lincoln here is one of the most racist presidents we've had in modern history. He pours fuel on every single racist fire. Every single one. Started off his campaign coming down the escalator saying he's going to get rid of those Mexican rapists. He's banned Muslims because they're Muslims. He has moved around and made everything worse across the board. He says about the poor boys, last time we were on stage,
Proud Boys.
I told him to stand down and stand ready. Come on. This guy has a dog whistle about as big as a foghorn.
President Trump, I'm going to give you 10 seconds to respond, and then I have a follow-up question.
He made a reference to Abraham Lincoln. Where did that come in? I mean,
You said
where
you're
did that-
Abraham Lincoln.
No, where did that? No.
You said-
I said
He said he's
not
better.
Since Abraham Lincoln has anybody done what I've done for the black community.
And I'm
I
saying-
didn't say I'm Abraham Lincoln. I said not since Abraham Lincoln has anybody done what I've done for the black community. Now, you have done nothing other than the crime bill, which put
Oh, God.
tens of thousands of black
This is
men,
too much.
mostly in jail.
All right, let me-
and you know
let me
what?
a- let me
they
ask
remember
Vice
it because
President
if you
Biden
look
a
at what's
question.
happening with the voting right now,
Let me ask
they
Vice
remember
President
that
Biden
you treated them.
about-
I think 93%
Take a
black
look at what's
support for
happening out
Biden.
there.
Vice President Biden, let me give you a chance to respond within this context. Crime
Okay.
bills that you supported in the 80s and 90s contributed to the incarceration of tens of thousands of young black men who had small amounts of drugs in their possession. They are sons, they are brothers, they're fathers, they're uncles, whose families are still to this day, some of them suffering the consequences. So speak to those families. Why should they vote for you?
One of the things is that in the 80s, we passed 100%, all 100 senators voted for it, a bill on drugs and how to deal with drugs. It was a mistake. I've been trying to change it since then, particularly the portion on cocaine. That's why I've been arguing that, in fact, we should not send anyone to jail for a pure drug offense. They should be going into treatment across the board. That's what we should be spending money on. That's why I set up drug courts, which were never funded by our Republican friends. They should not be going to jail for a drug or an alcohol problem. They should be going into treatment. That's what we've been trying to do. That's what I'm going to get done because I think maybe the American people have now seen that, in fact, it was a mistake to pass those laws relating to drug. But they were not in the crime bill.
But why didn't he get it done? See, it's all talk, no action with these politicians. Why didn't he get it done?
politicians.
That's what I'm going to do when I become president. You were vice president along with Obama as your president, your leader, for 8 years. Why didn't you get it done? You had 8 years to get it done. Now you're saying you're going to get it done because you're all talk and no action, Jim.
We got a lot of it done. We released 38,000. We got 38,000 prisoners left from the.
You got nothing done.
38,000 prisoners were released from federal prison. There were over 1,000 people who were given clemency. In fact, we're the ones that put in the legislation saying we could look at pattern and practice of police departments and what they were doing, how they were conducting themselves. I could go on, but we began the process. We lost an election. That's why I'm running to win back that election and change his terrible policy.
I just asked one question. Why didn't you do it in the 8 years, a short time ago? Why?
The same could be asked of why Trump's gotten nothing done. You know, his health care bill, for example.
Tens of thousands of mostly black young men in prison. Now you're saying you're going to undo that. Why didn't you get it done? You had 8 years with Obama. You know why, Joe? Because you're all talk and no action.
All right, Vice President Biden, and then we're going to move on to the next section.
We had a Republican Congress. That's the answer.
Well, you
Okay.
got to talk them into it, Joe.
All right.
You got to talk them into it.
We're going to move on to our next section,
Like I
which
did
is
with criminal
climate
justice
change.
reform. I had
Okay.
to talk Democrats into it.
Gentlemen,
Oh my
we're running out of time, so we got to get on to climate change, please. You both have very different
Biden checking the
visions on
time.
climate change. President Trump, you say that environmental regulations have hurt jobs in the energy sector. Vice President Biden, you have said you see addressing climate change as an opportunity to create new jobs. For each of you, how would you both combat climate change and support job growth at the same time? Starting with you, President Trump, you have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
So we have the Trillion Trees program. We have so many different programs. I do love the environment, but what I want is the cleanest, crystal clear water, the cleanest air. We have the best, lowest number in carbon emissions, which is a big standard that I notice Obama goes with all the time. Not Joe. I haven't heard Joe use the term because I'm not sure he knows what it represents or means, but I have heard Obama use it. And we have the best carbon emission numbers that we've had in 35 years under this administration. We are working so well with industry, but here's what we can't do. Look at China, how filthy it is. Look at Russia. Look at India.
Filthy
It's
China.
Filthy. The air is filthy. The Paris Accord, I took us out because we were going to have to spend trillions of dollars, and we were treated very unfairly. When they put us in there, they did us a great disservice. They were going to take away our businesses. I will not sacrifice tens of millions of jobs, thousands and thousands of companies because of the Paris Accord. It was so unfair. China doesn't kick in until
Incoherent.
2030. Russia goes back to a low standard.
Incoherent.
If we kicked in right away, it would have destroyed our businesses. So, you ready? We have done an incredible job environmentally. We have the cleanest air, the cleanest water, and the best carbon emission standards that we've seen in many, many years.
Vice President
And we
Biden.
haven't destroyed our industries.
Vice President Biden, 2 minutes to you, uninterrupted.
Climate change, climate warming, global warming is an existential threat to humanity. We have a moral obligation to deal with it. And we're told by all the leading scientists in the world, we don't have much time. We're going to pass the point of no return within the next 8 to 10 years. 4 more years of this man eliminating all the regulations that were put in by us to clean up the climate, to limit the limit of emissions will put us in a position where we're going to be in real trouble. Here's where we have a great opportunity. I was able to get both all the environmental organizations as well as labor, the people worried about jobs, to support my climate plan. Because what it does, it will create millions of new good-paying jobs. We're going to invest in, for example, 50,000 charging stations on our highways so that we can own the electric car market of the future. In the meantime, China is doing that. We're going to be in a position where we're going to see to it that we're going to take 4 million existing buildings and 2 million existing homes and retrofit them so they don't leak as much energy, saving hundreds of millions of barrels of oil in the process and creating significant number of jobs. And by the way, the whole idea of what this is all going to do, it's going to create millions of jobs, and it's going to clean the environment. Our health and our jobs are at stake. That's what's happening. And what right now, by the way, Wall Street firms indicated that my plan will in fact create 18.6 million jobs, 7 million more than his. This is from Wall Street. And I'll create $1 trillion more in economic growth than his proposal does. Not on climate, just on the economy.
President Trump, you're
They came out and said very strongly, $6,500 will be taken away from families under his plan.
Untrue.
That his plan is an economic disaster. If you look at what he wants to do, if you look at his plan, his environmental plan, you know who developed it? AOC +3. They know nothing about the climate. I mean, she's got a good line of stuff, but she knows nothing about the climate.
Oh, my God.
And they're all hopping through hoops for AOC +3.
AOC is the last person to attack
Their
right
real
now.
plan costs $100 trillion. If we had the best year in the history of our country for 100 years, we would not even come close to a number like that. When he says buildings, they want to take buildings down because they want to make bigger windows into smaller windows. As far as they're concerned, if you had no window, it would be a lovely thing. This is the craziest plan that anybody
Do the
has
toilet
ever
rant,
seen.
too.
And this wasn't done by smart people. This wasn't done by anybody. Frankly, I don't even know how it can be good politically. They want to spend $100 trillion. That's their real number. He's trying to say it was 6. It's $100 trillion.
That's laughable.
They want to knock down buildings and build new buildings with little, tiny, small
Little
windows.
tiny windows.
And many other things.
Okay.
And many other things.
No
Let me
water
have the Vice
pressure.
President
It
respond,
is
and we're running out of
crazy.
time, and we have a lot
And
more
you'll
questions to
destroy
get
our
to.
country.
So let's hear from the Vice President. I have a number more questions.
I thought there were 3 more minutes.
I don't know where he comes up with these numbers.
Queens.
$100 trillion.
Did he say Queens?
Give me a break. This plan was, this is plans endorsed by every major environmental group and every labor group. Labor, because they know the future lies. The future lies in us being able to breathe, and they know there are good jobs in getting us there. And by the way, the fastest growing industry in America is solar energy and wind. He thinks wind causes cancer. Windmills. It's the fastest growing jobs, and they pay good prevailing wages, 45, 50 bucks an hour. We can grow and we can be cleaner if we go the route I'm proposing.
Wind causes
President
cancer.
Trump, please respond, and then I have some
We are
follow-ups.
energy independent for the first time. We don't need all of these countries that we had to fight war over because we needed their energy. We are energy independent. I know more about wind than you do. It's extremely
Well, a lot of hot
expensive.
air coming out of his mouth,
Kills
that's
all
for sure.
the birds. It's very intermittent. It's got a lot of problems, and they happen to make the windmills in both Germany and China. And the fumes coming up, if you're a believer in carbon emission, the fumes coming up to make these massive windmills is more than anything that we're talking about with natural gas, which is very clean. One other thing.
Find me a scientist
Solar.
who said that.
I love solar, but solar doesn't quite have it yet. It's
Solar.
not powerful yet to really run our big, beautiful factories that we need to compete with the world. So
False.
It's all a pipe dream. But you know what we'll do? We're going to have the greatest economy in the world. But if you want to kill the economy, get rid of your oil industry. You want. And what about fracking?
All right,
Now
let
we have to ask
me
him about
allow
fracking.
Vice President Biden to respond.
I never said I oppose fracking.
You said it on tape.
I did. Show the tape. Put it on your website.
I'll put it on.
Put it on the website. The fact of the matter is he's flat lying.
Would you rule out banning fracking?
I do rule out banning fracking because the answer...
He should say we should get off fracking, actually.
We need other industries to transition to get to ultimately a complete zero emissions by 2025.
There's a better way to answer this.
What I will do with fracking over time is make sure that we can capture the emissions from the fracking, capture the emissions from gas. We can do that, and we can do that by investing money in doing it. But it's
Real quick, what Biden should say is by the time I'm done, the path I'm going to set us on, we're not going to need fracking.
Fracking, he said it. I will show that to you tomorrow. I am against fracking. Until he got the nomination, went to Pennsylvania, then he said, but you know what, Pennsylvania? He'll be against it very soon because his party is totally against it.
fracking on federal land, I said. No fracking or oil on federal
Let
land.
me ask this
I
final
did.
question in this section.
Wow.
And then I want to move on to our final section.
Oh, my God.
President Trump, people of color are much more likely to live near oil refineries and chemical plants. In Texas, there are families who worry the plants near them are making them sick. Your administration has rolled back regulations on these kinds of facilities. Why should these families give you another 4 years in office?
The families that we're talking about are employed heavily, and they're making a lot of money, more money than they've ever made.
Heavy employment.
If you look at the kind of numbers that we produce for Hispanic, for Black, for Asian, it's 9 times greater, the percentage gain, than it was under, in 3 years, than it was under 8 years of the 2 of them, to put it nicely.
What?
9 times more. Now, somebody lives, I have not heard the numbers or the statistics that you're saying, but they're making a tremendous amount of money economically. We saved it, and I saved it again a number of months ago when oil was crashing because of the pandemic.
Okay.
We saved it. We got, say what you want about relationship, we got Saudi Arabia, Mexico, and Russia
Saudi.
to cut back, way back. We saved our oil industry, and now it's very vibrant again.
All right.
And everybody has very inexpensive gasoline. Remember
Vice President Biden, your
Nowhere to
response,
go,
and then
but-
we're going to have a final question for both of you.
My response is that those people live on what they call fence lines. He doesn't understand this. They live near chemical plants that, in fact, pollute, chemical plants and oil plants and refineries that pollute. I used to live near that when I was growing up in Claymont, Delaware. And all the more oil refineries in Marcus Hook and the Delaware River than there is any place, including in Houston at the time. When my mom get in the car and when there was first frost to drive me to school, turning the windshield wiper, there'd be oil slick in the window. That's why so many people in my state were dying and getting cancer. The fact is, those frontline communities, it doesn't matter what you're paying them, it matters how you keep them safe. What do? And you impose restrictions on the pollutants coming out of those fence line communities.
Okay, I have one final question.
Would he close down the oil industry?
It falls.
Would you close down the
falls-
oil
By
industry?
the way, I would transition from the oil industry, yes.
Oh,
I will
that's
transition.
a big statement. That is a big
Transition.
statement. That's a-
Because
Beautiful.
I would stop
Why would you do that?
because the oil
Why?
industry pollutes
Isn't it obvious?
significantly.
I see.
And here's the deal, but
That's
you
a
can't
big
do
statement.
that. Well, if you let me finish the
Fantastic.
statement, because it has to be replaced by renewable energy
Obvious.
over time. And I'd stop giving to the oil industry, I'd stop giving them federal subsidies. He won't give federal subsidies to the gas, to solar and wind.
Yeah.
Why are we giving it to oil industry?
We actually do give
All
it
right.
to solar and wind.
We
And
have
that's
one
maybe the
final
biggest
question.
statement in terms of business. That's the biggest statement.
Okay.
Because
We have
basically
one
I love
what
it.
he's saying
question.
is
I
he's
love
going
it.
to destroy the oil industry. Will you remember that, Texas? Will you
Okay.
remember that, Pennsylvania, Oklahoma?
Ooh,
Vice
Trump's
President
worried
Biden,
about
let me give
losing
you 10
Texas,
seconds to
isn't he?
respond, and then I have to get to the final question. Vice President Biden.
He takes everything out of context. But the point is, look, we have to move toward a net zero emissions.
Of course.
The first place to do that by the year 2035 is in energy production. By 2050, totally.
All right. One
Is he gonna
final
get
question
China to
both
do
of
it?
you. No, we're finished with
Is
this.
he
We
going
have
to
to
get
move on
China
to
to
our
do it?
final question. We have to
I'm
move
going
on
to
to our
rejoin
final
Paris
question.
Accord and make China abide by what they agreed to.
All right,
That'll
this
cost you
is
$1 trillion.
about leadership, gentlemen. And this first question does go to you, President Trump. Imagine this is your inauguration day. What will you say in your address to Americans who did not vote for you? You'll each have 1 minute, starting with you, Mr.
We have to make our country totally successful as it was prior to the plague coming in from China. Now we're rebuilding it, and we're doing record numbers.
Message of unity.
11.4 million jobs in a short period of time, et cetera. But I will tell you, go back. Before the plague came in, just before, I was getting calls from people that were not normally people that would call me. They wanted to get together. We had the best black unemployment numbers in the history of our country. Hispanic, women, Asian,
Inuit.
people with diplomas, with no diplomas,
Samoan.
MIT graduates, #1 in the class. Everybody had the best numbers. And you know what? The other side wanted to get together. They wanted to unify. Success is going to bring us together. We are on the road to success. But I'm cutting taxes, and he wants to raise everybody's taxes. And he
What
wants
a
to
lie.
put new regulations on everything. He will kill it. If he gets in, you will have a depression, the likes of which you've never seen.
This is Trump's answer about what he would explain on Inauguration Day.
Very, very sad day for this country.
All right. Vice President Biden, same question to you. What will you say during your inaugural address to Americans who did not vote for you?
I will say, I'm an American president. I represent all of you, whether you voted for me or against me. And I'm going to make sure that you're represented. I'm going to give you hope. We're going to move. We're going to choose science over fiction. We're going to choose hope over fear. We're going to choose to move forward because we have enormous opportunities to make things better. We can grow this economy. We can deal with the systemic racism. And at the same time, we can make sure that our economy is being run and moved and motivated by clean energy, creating millions of new jobs. And that's the fact. That's what we're going to do. And I'm going to say, as I said at the beginning, what is on the ballot here is the character of this country: decency, honor, respect, treating people with dignity, making sure that everyone has an even chance. And I'm going to make sure you get that. You haven't been getting it the last 4 years.
All right. I want to thank you both for a very robust hour and a half.
Wow.
Fantastic debate. Really appreciate it. President Trump, former Vice President Joe Biden, thank you to Belmont University for hosting us tonight. And most importantly,
Trump is furious.
Thank you to those watching tonight. Election Day is November 3rd. Don't forget to vote. Thank you, everyone, and have a great night.
Thank you.
Let's see if there's any kind of greeting here.
And with that, moderator
Jill Biden there, you see. Let's switch over to C-SPAN now. I do want to pay attention very, very closely to exactly what we see. Wow, I have never seen... I think, you know, even if you go back to the Obama-Romney debate where the please proceed governor thing started, I think this was even more uneven. There is Melania Trump glancing very briefly at Joe Biden, but essentially no recognition. Oh my God, it's so awkward with Trump and Melania. It's just like, what is going on? What is going on? I wish they would just keep the camera on them. So this is how like a couple where they like each other, I guess, greets each other. Trump seems to be furious. He's not even glancing at Joe Biden. I mean, look at Trump. It is shocking. And off he goes. Wow, Biden just waved to him and Trump didn't even acknowledge him. Trump didn't even acknowledge the wave. What a triggered snowflake, to borrow what is a really kind of ugly term that the right uses. I mean, not even acknowledging the wave. Unbelievable. Wow. I don't think I've ever seen a debate more unbalanced. So here's my sort of takeaway. The Obama-Romney debate in 2012, where Romney went on that rant and Obama just sat there and said, please proceed, Governor. That was a really uneven debate, but Romney did better than Trump here. Like, I'm not saying Biden did better than Obama, but Romney had done so much better than Trump did tonight that the gap between them was not as big in that debate in 2012. I mean, truly unbelievable. And I mean, just destruction. I don't even know how you pretend to defend Donald Trump's performance today. Listen, 65,000 of you joined me tonight. If you're leaving, please make sure to hit the subscribe button on YouTube so that you will be notified when we go live, like on election night. If you're watching on Twitch and taking off, make sure to follow me. If you're watching on Facebook, make sure to hit the like button. If you appreciated the coverage, I would really love it if you grabbed a membership at joinpacman.com. As you can see, 154 people have signed up so far. I would love to get to 200. And we're not talking about a lot of money. We've got a beautiful, perfect coupon code, 2020 now, which will save you 66%. If you've had enough, I get it. We're going to open up the phone lines, though, and I want to hear from some people. But many, many ways to support the work we do, and memberships are just a perfect way. So I will, I'm not going to make it a very, very late evening, but I would be glad to hear from some of you. We're going to do it via Discord. Okay, so I'm going to give you the instructions for how to talk to me. Go to davidpacman.com/Discord. That's DISCORD. Once you are there, go into the waiting lobby and change your nickname to location:name. So like if your name is Blanche and you're in Whitefish, Montana, you would put Whitefish:Blanche. You understand? Okay. And then I will call on people in some sort of order. I don't know exactly what kind of order, but we'll talk to a few people. And if you are heading out, I really do appreciate you joining me. We did have we had a record stream tonight, and I'm so glad people were interested in what these candidates had to say. Let's see what's on people's minds. Okay. davidpacman.com/Discord. A lot of people waiting. Let me see here. We're just going to go. It's hard to know exactly where to start, but just for kicks, let's start with a local caller, Johnny from Boston. Johnny from Boston, what's going on? Oh, boy. Johnny from Boston. Can you unmute and talk to me? Okay. Johnny from Boston had muted himself. That was user error, unfortunately. Let's go next to, where are we going to go? Let's go to, oh my God, so many people are trying to get in here at once that I like can't even take a call. This is crazy. Let's go to Rob from Virginia. Rob from Virginia, please unmute and you will be on with me as soon as you do that. Oh boy. Rob from Virginia. If you have to listen, you do have to listen to me through Discord, because if you're listening on the stream, you're going to experience a pretty big delay. All right, that's not working. Let's see what else. Let's go to Mike from Finland. Mike from Finland, what's going on? Mike from Finland, what's going on? Oh boy. Mike from Finland, what is going on? All right. Let's go to Tali from Australia. Tali from Australia. Kind of odd. Starting to wonder if the issue's on my end, quite frankly. Let's see here. Tali from Australia, are you with me?
David, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, so I'm from Aussie, and you know, we've all been paying attention because our fascists tend to copy your ones.
Right.
But yeah, the thing I was just thinking about going into that is like, he really doesn't have the momentum of 2016, does he? Like,
no.
You know, if like you were to sort of look at what Trump did in 2016, it was like he went up against like 7 Republicans and crushed them all on the debate stage, and then, you know, went on to the final boss, you know, so to speak. And I guess for this one, it's just like he's only had 2 debate performances now, and they've both been really flat, you know.
Yeah, but I think tonight was acutely disastrous for Trump. The first one was sort of like he interrupted a lot, and a lot of people didn't like it. Tonight was a disaster like I don't remember seeing probably ever in any debate I've covered.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think something else I've kind of been thinking about is, like, you know how there is the, I guess, narrative that like Joe Biden's losing his marbles or whatever.
Yeah.
The thing I'm thinking around that is, like, you do sometimes see the visual glitching, but it's not really that distracting when like the guy next to him is just like
talking about low IQ immigrants and stuff.
Yeah, like that there. I was expecting his next line that he was going to say, like, Joe, we got to secure the existence of our people. Like,
it was borderline. It was exactly that type. You're absolutely right. And, you know, okay, Biden has had a stutter for a long time. And I can see Joe Biden is not as quick as he was with Paul Ryan in 2012. But the difference today was just night and day.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I guess just to finish up, so more people can talk and whatnot, I guess it's been very interesting watching this from Australia, because I'm not sure if you probably don't follow Australian politics because they're pretty boring, but like...
Okay. Yeah, I don't, but mostly because I have my hands full here.
They've all gone through that same populist thing. And I just say to most Americans watching, you know, what happens in America does tend to have a flow-on effect to our other countries. Like, we are seeing a rise in sort of like hate groups and stuff. So yes. Make good choices, guys. That's all I'll say.
All right. I appreciate that. Great to hear from our friends in Australia. If you would like to get on with me, the place to do it is davidpakman.com/Discord. Let's hear from a few other people, and I really am doing the best I can here because there are so many people holding. Let's go to Sinai from Boston. Sinai from Boston, what's going on? Sinai from Boston, please unmute.
Hey, how are you? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I thought it was a really interesting debate. I think Joe Biden did a really good job, way better than last time. He seemed like he was really on it, probably because he wasn't being interrupted as much. The meeting probably helped. I thought it was really interesting when they were talking about China, and Trump was kind of saying that China pays for the taxes on the tariffs.
Sinai, I hate to interrupt you, but every half second your Discord is beeping. If you can deafen that, that would be really good because it's a big distraction.
Oh, when I deafen it.
It mutes. Does she need to deafen or mute, guys? Can somebody tell me what she needs to do, or is it plugging in headphones?
Oh, I don't have any headphones on.
Headphones we don't have. Okay.
Okay, you can go to the next caller then.
I think you need click to talk, or if some of the moderators can help me, I will put Sinai back. We've got to deal with that. Some people you don't hear it, some people you do. I don't even know what to tell them. They've got to turn off their notification. I don't know. We've got to set that at the server level, please. Somebody help me because I am drowning without a paddle here. Let's go to dear God, everything going on. Let's go to Fernando from Texas. Fernando, what's going on?
Hey, yeah, no, the debate was absolutely, it was not what I was expecting.
No, me neither. Me neither.
Yeah, it was, especially that comment about IQ.
Yeah.
Oh boy. I mean, it kind of shows who he is in a sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's gonna be, I'm an immigrant, so I've, I guess, a deeper connection to that than most voters, but well, we've seen that in the past 4 years. It's not like it's something completely new or anything like that.
No, listen, I mean, Trump shouting out about low IQ Hispanics during a debate is sort of the logical culmination of the dog whistling red meat we've seen for the last 5 years. It's exactly what you would expect.
Yeah, it's been crazy. And honestly, Biden did a lot better than I'd hoped he would do, especially with the muting. I think that helped.
He did fantastic.
Get his points across.
There were mic drops, there were kill shots. Biden, I hope he could be charged with murder for what happened tonight, and I hope he's not.
Yeah, see. Yeah, no. But thanks so much for covering it as well, because it was good to get some of that extra info in about, especially like the crime bill, and because people like Trump, they just like to talk very loud.
Yeah.
And talk over the truth, so to speak.
It was very well done. All right, my friend, thank you. I am being told, make sure to set your status to do not disturb so that we don't hear the constant blinging of people's Discords. We are taking calls on Discord. davidpakman.com/Discord is the place. davidpakman.com/Discord. Let's go to Joe from Massachusetts next.
Oh wow, I wasn't expecting to be called. I thought this wasn't as good for Biden as the first one.
Really?
I think the kind of undecided voters who are I imagine any undecided voter kind of wants to like Trump. This almost brings them back a little. There's one line in there that he's now thrown out a few times, and that was a talking point about the first time he's heard BLM. They're saying pigs in a blanket, fry them like bacon, so the whole movement's bad.
Yeah.
I think it would be very interesting if we were to apply that rule to his movement of his supporters at his rallies, or chance at Unite the Right rallies.
Or even going from Trump's early statement about Mexican rapists. If we're judging everybody by the first thing we hear about them,
Well, he brought it back. He brought out that old classic this time. So I was quite surprised to hear it again.
Yeah, I mean, I understand what you're saying. I think this was good for Biden. I think it was good for Biden. I do disagree with you, but respectfully and with peace and love.
Yeah. No, I mean, I just think that the kind of people who wanted to vote for Trump, but were like, oh, he was too crazy the first one, this might have reeled them back in a little. But
I just think the implosion outweighs it. Yeah. No, I think the implosion outweighs it. But I appreciate your take.
Thank you.
All right, very good. And remember, guys, in order to prevent that really annoying blinging constantly, set your Discord to do not disturb. Do not disturb is exactly what we want. Let's see who else we've got here. There's 10 different people named Sam who are holding. Let's go to Sergio from Mexico. Sergio, ¿cómo estás? Sergio? Sergio? That's too bad. I was looking forward to speaking with him. Let's go to Solon from Worcester, Massachusetts.
Hi there, David. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Oh, so nice to talk with you. I have headphones on. I recommend other people do that as well.
Pristine.
So I was watching the debate, and I noticed that there wasn't much interruption between the candidates, and I'm wondering what do you attribute to that? Do you think Kristen Welker talked to them beforehand and said, "Hey, guys, knock it off. That really wasn't cool with Chris Wallace."
No.
Or
I think
what was it?
that Trump has been, they've been begging Trump not to interrupt. And of course, they had the muting during the first 2 minutes each. And I think Trump just actually paid attention and really limited his interruption. Only towards the last 40 or so minutes, Trump couldn't take it. But remember, guys, the mics were not muted during the last 11 minutes of each segment.
Right.
And so I think Trump just, he accepted what his advisors were telling him, which was the interruption was really bad during the first debate.
And what do you make of that last image that we saw of him walking away while Biden was waving?
Emblematic of the entire thing. I mean, just, an angry, he doesn't, he barely reacts to his wife approaching him. Biden waves and Trump just turns and walks away. This is what it is. This is what it is. This is Trump, and you can either vote for it or you can vote for something else.
First time caller, I recommend people join the membership program. I love your show, David. Keep on going.
Yes, absolutely. And speaking of which, before I get to the next caller, let me just update. We have just very powerfully jumped to 190 new members at joinpacman.com. We're only 10 away. That's 0.03% of the people watching right now. Can you imagine that? Let's do it. Let's do it. All right, let's see who else we've got holding here. I'm trying to get sort of a geographically diverse sampling. Where are we going to go next? Let's go to, what is going on here? I'm having some trouble parsing some of these names. Let's go to Ben from Vancouver. Ben, what's going on?
Hey, I was just watching the debate, and like everybody else was, and I actually noticed a very big divide in partisanship in America compared to what we have in Canada.
Yes.
It seems that the politicians actually try to work against each other rather than working with each other. And it was very clear tonight as Donald Trump decided against interrupting people as often as he would have normally.
Yes.
You could see more of his policies and his true nature, I guess you could say.
I don't think I really heard it. That's interesting you say that. I don't think I heard a single real policy from Trump.
I think he talked about what he would do. He didn't.
I think Trump talked about
anything.
talking about policy. Trump talked a lot about if you reelect him, he will then propose policy, which for me is not so good.
Yeah, it definitely isn't, because that can also be seen as holding the American people hostage, right?
Yeah.
It seems that when he does that, though, a lot of people don't understand, especially when he makes comments along the lines of Biden didn't do anything for the 8 years that he was vice president.
Right.
People seem to not understand how, even me as a Canadian, I feel like I have a better understanding of the American political system than a lot of people do watching it.
I would not be surprised.
Biden did say, they didn't have the Senate. And without the Senate, it is extremely hard to pass legislation, as you've seen with Nancy Pelosi passing bill after bill and it just sitting on McConnell's desk, right?
Which is why the importance of Democrats taking the Senate is right up there with taking the White House. Yeah,
exactly. I would actually put it just as important.
Maybe so.
Not even like.
I mean, I think from the standpoint of repairing relationships, that's really something the president does. So I think that
Definitely.
is very important. But legislatively, I agree with you. It's just as important.
Yeah. Okay, I'll give it over to somebody else.
All right, my friend, Vancouver, Canada, checking in there. Very, very much love it. Let's go next to, we are going to go to Kim from McDonough somewhere. I can't tell where. Kim, where are you from? Kim, you can go ahead and unmute yourself, then I'll be able to hear you. Kim from McDonough somewhere.
Okay.
Hello. All right. We're going to move on from Kim there. Let's go to Julie from Burlingame, California. Where's Burlingame, Julie?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh,
but
great.
you've got to mute the stream in the background that's playing. You got to listen to me through Discord. Hello.
Okay, I'm back here. I'm so sorry. I'm I'm a Gen Xer and I'm still learning how to use Discord.
You're doing great.
Giving you. Okay.
Oh no, I'm still. So let me ask you this: where is my voice coming out of right now? Is it coming out of a computer somewhere else in the room?
No, my phone.
That's bizarre.
I just have my...
Are you watching the stream and on Discord on the phone? Is that what's going on?
That's probably what's.
I think you got to close or pause the stream.
There we go.
Beautiful.
Is it better now?
It's all set. So what's going on? What's on your mind today? No, it's still going on. Sorry, I'm gonna have to mute you. I'm sorry. You got that we just can't do that because it's literally, I don't want to be rude, but it's impossible to speak when that's going on. It's an oral thing. AURAL. Let's go next to Brian from Iowa. Let's go to the heartland. Brian from Iowa, what's going on with you? Brian from Iowa, you can unmute yourself and talk. Brian from Iowa, you have one last chance to unmute yourself and talk. And I guess that's not happening. Wow, that's really too bad. Let's go to Corey from California.
Me. Brian?
Yes, hello.
Hi. Oh, that worked.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
So it sounds like you also have the stream going in the background.
I don't have the stream.
Oh, you don't? Okay, all right, very good, very good.
Okay. My question was, I actually thought Trump was very, and not to say that I agree with anything, I still think he's an idiot, but he was very poised tonight. And do you think that'll actually sway the people that might have been like, ew, his last debate was icky, into maybe wanting to support now?
It's possible. I mean, so here's the thing. It's when you watch a debate like this, it's not just voters move from one candidate to the other. It's most people don't move at all. And then some people will move from one candidate to the other, and then some will move in the opposite direction. And while I think there is no question that there are some people who wanted to vote for Trump but needed to sort of feel like he could behave normally, and I don't think he did, but he was more normal than the first debate, he probably will secure a few votes there. But with Joe Biden's performance, I think the net benefit is to Biden here.
Okay, yeah, I was a little nervous in the beginning because he was very put together.
Yeah, wait, you're saying Trump was? I found Biden incredibly
in the beginning, I was almost nervous. I was like, oh, he was prepped, like really prepped. Then he lost it. Then he went off.
Yeah, he completely lost it. Completely lost it.
Yeah.
Is someone else in the room with you laughing?
Oh, I'm sorry. That would be my fiance. Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. I was trying to understand because it sort of sounds like my own voice, but it's someone else.
No, that's my fiance. Yes.
Very good. All right. Well, so when is the wedding?
Oh well, yeah. Well, with COVID, we're years out right now.
Oh, okay.
We're nowhere near there.
Very good. All right. Well, I appreciate the contact.
Thank you. Thank you
All
for
right.
having me on.
Take care. Very nice. Okay, that we're hearing from some nice people when they can get themselves unmuted. Let's go to Samantha B. Samantha B is on next.
Hey, David, you can hear me because I'm on my computer now instead of my phone.
I can hear you. Yeah.
So,
Okay, now you're cutting out though.
I did my absentee ballot in Texas. I still don't even know. So
all right, we can't do it. It's sometimes Discord goes perfectly, but it's just not working well. And that was just completely on the caller's end. That was not on my end. Where else are we going to go? Let's go to Renee from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Renee from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Renee? Renee, I can hear background noise, so you must be there. I hear a door. Renee, you're on right now.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm from Louisiana, and I just think it's a little like I obviously feel one way about Trump, as seeing as how I watch your show, and I have some family members who think he's the greatest president ever, and just the more and more time goes by, and the more I see, especially celebrities endorsing him, I'm just absolutely baffled by how anyone can see him talk the way that he does and still support him. I don't even really have a question. It's just, I'm
Yeah.
just confused, honestly.
Yeah, me too. But I mean, you'd have to ask them. I don't understand it either.
Yeah, and I just want to thank you because I keep the way you keep track of everything, and I just really appreciate, because I know it's got to take a toll on you to keep track of all the insane stuff that he says every day, and so I thank you for doing the legwork, I suppose.
Thank you. I appreciate the kind words.
Thank you.
All right, very good. There's Renee from Baton Rouge. Let's go next to where are we going? It's very hard to know. Let's go to Lana Del Rique. Lana Del Rique, you are on. Lana Del Rique, you are on right now.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes, I barely can, but I can.
Perfect. So I'm from Colorado. I didn't figure out how to change my nickname on there to Enrique from Colorado.
All right.
But anyway, damn, I had so much to say. Now that I'm on nervous.
Well, let me talk you through it. Where in Colorado are you calling from?
Northeastern Colorado, which is the whole red part of Colorado.
Is that near Colorado Springs or that's northwest?
Colorado Springs would be more like southern, mid-south.
Okay, because that's like the evangelical capital of the country or something, right?
Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, out here in Northeastern, is all like the rural areas, all about agriculture.
How rural is it? Like how close is your grocery store?
Oh, grocery store is not too bad. It's less than a mile away. It'd be more like superstore wise. Like I'm about an hour and a half from Denver, 45 minutes from Greeley.
So if you have to go to like a Target, how far is that?
45 minutes would be the shortest.
My God. And then how do you pronounce the word rural?
Rural.
Rural. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. All right. It sounds like you're typing up a storm there, so I'm going to let you go. But if you remember your question, I'd love to hear from you again. Let's go next to Grace from Michigan, if possible.
I actually thought that like this debate, there was a lot more policy talk, but part of the problem I think is that there's this consensus among conservatives that Biden isn't competent and he can't speak. And I think he did a really good job of being eloquent and kind of keeping it together, more so than they claim he hasn't in the past. But I just don't think that anything that is going to be said or done is really going to sway anyone on the right. And you would hope it would sway people in the middle, but I just don't know how you could be torn between the two like that.
I don't either. And, you know, we know a lot about undecideds. Undecideds tend to be younger, center right, and don't really know stuff. Like they don't really pay much attention. That's the demographic of the people that are undecided. I think the effect of tonight's debate is less about affecting them. It's more about 45% of the country didn't vote in the last presidential election. And there's tens of millions of people there who, if they voted, would vote for Biden, and hopefully they get activated. That's I think my approach.
Yeah, and we're having significant voter turnout, which like me and some friends were talking about this the other day. Whenever there's been a huge amount of turnout, they usually swing Democrat. So my hope is we can keep our fingers crossed and we'll pull ahead in the polls. And that's what it looks like right now. But I mean, this happened last election. They kind of screwed us over as far as the electoral college goes because Hillary won the popular vote. So it's just kind of like, okay, well, we'll just hold our breath. But I'm kind of glad, he did not keep his composure. He got to the end. And he started losing it.
He lost it. Yep.
I think it's important to watch these debates. I think a lot of people want to sit by and not see it. But I think you have to be aware of what's going on because otherwise you sit too comfortably in your own reality and you can't really see the perspective of what's actually going on and how terrifying another 4 years of Trump could be. So I think it's important to watch these debates just to be informed, even though it's hard to watch.
Completely agree with you. Completely, burying your head in the sand is not going to accomplish too much. How rural is where you live in Michigan?
So I live in Mount Pleasant, Michigan. We have Central University here, so it's not. I've done Black Lives Matter protests. Like, I've actually helped organize them and get people together in my town because people just weren't doing it over the summer.
Mm-hmm.
But we have so it's a weird mix. So you have all the liberal college students, but then you have very, very conservative people in our town. So when I did the Black Lives Matter protest, I personally received death threats. We would stand out on the street corner, and I mean, it would be like several cars would drive by, and we would get slurs thrown at us, the middle finger. I frequently see Trump flags flying, and to me,
Oh boy, you're cutting out a little bit, and it sounds like there's a dog barking in the background. Is that right?
Well, the internet's bad here. I live in the dorms, so.
Got it. Listen, before I let you go, do you consider a hot dog a sandwich?
No.
You don't? Okay. That's fair.
No.
That's fair. All right.
All right.
Okay, thanks very much. I appreciate the call. We are taking calls through Discord. The address is davidpakman.com/Discord. Let's take a couple more. But before I do that, just to update people, we have now brought in 225 new website members this evening. Not a record, but a beautiful, beautiful number. Let's see where else we can go. What looks interesting, and I apologize, I can't possibly get to everybody, but I'm trying. Let's go to Jocelyn from Virginia. Jocelyn from Virginia, how are you? Jocelyn from Virginia, you're on live. And last opportunity for Jocelyn from Virginia. All right. No Jocelyn from Virginia. Let's see who else we've got. How about, I don't know, let's go to Liana. Liana, what's going on? Liana, you can unmute yourself and then you will be talking to me. And going 3 times for Liana.
Hey.
Hello. Oh my God. Hello, did you drop your phone?
It's on mute.
Hello, did you drop your phone? Hello, Liana?
Sorry, I threw my phone.
Oh, you're British.
How are you doing?
Good. Are you calling from the UK right now? Hello?
No, I'm not getting it to work properly, sorry.
Can you hear me right now?
London here, baby.
You're from, isn't it 4 a.m. in London?
I am. I was all ready to go to bed, and then I watched that debate, and now I'm all totally awake.
Wow. Well, what can I do for you? Is a kebab shop a proper dinner in your mind? All right. Well, that's not working super well, unfortunately. Dear God, what a night. Let's try, I don't know. Let's stick with the UK though. Let's go to Penny from the UK. Penny, are you in the UK? Is it 4 a.m. there? Penny from the UK, you're on live. Okay. All right, guys, listen, it's getting late. I know that everybody I didn't go to would have had perfect connections. I know I'm going to get 100 emails about how, everybody was just completely ready. Unfortunately, we're going to have to call it there because it's been a very, very long day. I do want to thank the 226 people who signed up on my website, joinpacman.com. Please remember, as you head out, subscribe free on YouTube, follow free on Twitch, like free on Facebook. These platforms are our livelihood. What a debate tonight. We are going to be played out with a new, very special music video, as well as the latest song from Joseph Woodward. Thanks to everybody for joining me. We will be back very, very soon.
Of the nationally syndicated radio and TV program, The David Pakman Show. And I wanted to talk to David Pakman. He is a beta male. David Pakman. He is a beta male. The beta male. David Pakman. He is a beta male. David Pakman. He is a beta male. The beta male.
Can you remind the audience, when you talk about being a beta male and being an alpha male, what are we talking about here?
There are males, most men today.
Yeah.
Male. They think and act like a woman. They're emotional. They are mentally off. They have no logic. And that's a beta male. They go along with homosexuality.
Hold on, whoa, Jesse, we got it. That's a lot.
LGBTQ.
That's a lot.
They
Hold on.
agree with everything that's raw. Abortion, they think and act just like a woman. A beta male does. But a non-beta male doesn't, because he's a logical thinking. And they're controlled by the darkness of David Pakman. He is a beta male. David Pakman. He is a beta male. The beta male. David Pakman. He is a beta male. David Pakman. He is a beta male. The beta male. David Pakman. He is a beta male. David Pakman. He is a beta male. The beta male. David Pakman. He is a beta male. David Pakman. He is a beta male. The beta male. David, you're not here to communicate. I really appreciate you coming on. I'm going to let you go. It's a waste of time to talk to you. We're not communicating. You're acting like an idiot.
Because you're asking bizarre questions.
You're
and not
acting
answering
like an
any of them.
idiot, and you're wasting my time. I appreciate you coming. All right, thank you for coming. Goodbye. Goodbye. Let him go. That's a progressive vote. All men who are progressive